This was his first time venturing into the wilderness beyond the domain. Outside the human territories of the Jojo Alliance, the wilderness stretched, dotted with various powerful, desolate beasts. The knowledge Xiang Beifei had gained in high school about this wilderness was very general, just a rough outline, because some people's awakened systems were based on the literary Tao. They only acted in all aspects of life and rarely dealt with the wilderness. So to accommodate the majority, high school instruction wasn't in depth. For high school students, having a concept was considered sufficient. But those who pursued the path of martial cultivation had to truly learn about the wilderness in university and treat it with the utmost priority. Xiang Beifei thought that he would need some simulated training in university before actually going to the wilderness. But to his surprise, Yu Qishun, that shameless fellow, had sent him directly to the wilderness without any preparation. Is your hatred for my father really that intense? He had only met Yu Qishun for the first time, hardly exchanging a few words before he was thrown here. Yu Qishun was so eager to get revenge that he couldn't wait. Xiang Beifei looked down and saw his wrist, where the iron ball that had been crushed a moment ago had turned into a strange liquid that wrapped around his wrist, solidifying into a metal ring. Above him, a small iron ball was flying around him, seemingly assessing him. He knew that everyone must be watching his every move through this flying ball, wanting to see how he would perform in the wilderness. Yu Qishun was undoubtedly one of them. He reconsidered his current situation carefully. Within this strange environment, he had to think about all possible occurrences and how to ensure his own safety. Yu Qishun hadn't told him how to return, only mentioning that he needed to kill a 3 souls desolate snake, and that coming back empty-handed would mean failure, implying that even if he couldn't kill the 3 souls desolate snake, he should still return. Was there a time limit, like he would be automatically sent back to Liangzhou University after a certain period? Or could he choose when to return on his own? Xiang Beifei thought it should be the latter, meaning he could make the choice. Even if Yu Qishun was desperate for revenge, he definitely wouldn't dare let something happen to him in front of so many people. The way back he left must surely be for preserving life, given that the means of return should be this thing on his wrist. Xiang Beifei was completely unfamiliar with the item on his wrist, and even with the ability to learn by analogy. The premise was that he had to have studied it first. He hadn't attended a single university course yet, and this thing looked like a tool from the wilderness, a newly developed product. He was clueless about how to use it. Net. What was more important was, what did the 3 souls desolate snake look like? In the wilderness beyond the domain, there were countless strong and terrifying desolate beasts, too many to count. High school textbooks only listed a fraction of desolate beasts with images, but those were just a drop in the ocean compared to all types of desolate beasts. For the past 2 months, he had been focused on cultivating and dealing with the university entrance exam, neglecting to learn about desolate beasts. The 3 souls desolate snake was just an academic name, but what it looked like, Xiang Beifei had no idea. This is insane. I'm given a task, but not told how to return, nor what my target looks like, its habits, or where to find it. Xiang Beifei couldn't help but grumble. Lu Jiwei once said that newcomers must solidify their foundational knowledge before venturing into the wilderness, and if one were to hunt a certain desolate beast, they must fully understand it before acting. But when Xiang Beifei arrived here for the assessment, he never anticipated that Yu Qishun would actually send him to the wilderness, and he certainly hadn't coincidentally studied the 3 souls desolate snake. Yu Qishun didn't offer him an explanation and just forcibly proceeded with the plan. This opening was like a headless, disoriented pattern. Actually, Yu Qishun had originally intended to make Xiang Beifei give up, knowing how difficult it was, because even when he himself was an SR-level genius, during his first mission in the external wilderness, he had spent 6 months learning, gaining a complete understanding of the target, before teaming up with others to go there. But even so, he had nearly lost his life. The real external wilderness was different from simulated training in school. The situation in the wilderness could change in the blink of an eye, and you couldn't expect to encounter only the desolate beast you wanted to kill in that area. There could also be other desolate beasts passing by, facing attacks from different beasts simultaneously. Yu Qishun couldn't even manage that himself. He had sent Xiang Beifei here solely to watch his former rival's son embarrass himself in front of everyone, and then tell everyone that Xiang Tianqing's son was no big deal. Xiang Beifei could probably guess Yu Qixin's purpose, but he couldn't just go back directly. He took another look around. It was eerily quiet, with a rotten smell wafting through the air, extremely pungent. The sound of the swamp bubbling was particularly jarring, leaves rustling as if something was crawling. Xiaohei, do you know what a three-souls desolate snake looks like? Xiang Beifei asked. Xiaohei shook its head. It was only the system's nemesis but not a desolate beast's nemesis. It hadn't prepared for desolate beast studies before coming here. This was troublesome. Crack. As Xiang Beifei pondered, suddenly a sound of a snapping twig came from the woods. He became alert immediately, leaping beside the tree trunk, concealing his figure behind it. Hiss! Hiss! It sounded like something was swallowing. Could this sound be the three-souls desolate snake? Thinking of Yu Qixin sending him to catch a three-souls desolate snake, perhaps he was directly transported to its lair. Maybe this swamp was hiding the three-souls desolate snake. That would make things easier, no need to go through a lot of trouble to find it. Xiang Beifei peered through the cracks of the tree branches towards the source of the noise, trying to track the three-souls desolate snake. Splash! It seemed like something had broken through the water in the swamp and was crawling on the ground. But from this position, he couldn't see the swamp clearly due to the obstructed view. He carefully moved his body, stepping over the damp moss underfoot, while applying his spiritual power to the soles of his feet, firmly gripping the ground to avoid accidentally stepping on stones or brittle branches, making noise that would alarm the other party. That would really be mindless. However, just as he was about to peek his head out from behind the branches, a sharp eagle's cry suddenly came from the sky. Then something huge seemed to be flapping its wings, rustling as it whooshed over the treetops above. Roar! A fierce roar suddenly sounded at the edge of the swamp. Whatever had just crawled out from the swamp seemed to be enraged by the large bird flying overhead, and with a swift motion, it dashed out. By the time Xiang Beifei stuck his head out, the swamp was quiet again, and he saw nothing. Ha! Xiang Beifei had no idea what had just emerged from the swamp. It seemed like a large bird had flown by in the sky, angering something in the marshland. That thing appeared to be chasing after the bird, moving so fast it was soon out of sight. The three-souls desolate snake, judging by the name, must undoubtedly be a snake. However, the creature that had crawled out of the swamp made such a ghastly sound. It didn't sound anything like a snake. Still, he decided to follow and check it out. He had to at least determine what the target looked like. He wriggled out from behind the tree branches and leaped towards the edge of the forest on the left of the swamp. The noise had just passed by there, and he wondered if it had gone far. The ground was overgrown with weeds, squishy underfoot, but the area looked as though it had been flattened by something recently, seemingly by some kind of reptile. He became even more certain it should be the three-souls desolate snake. Walking cautiously, Xiang Beifei followed the trail ahead, but he hadn't gone far when he suddenly sensed something wrong. A sharp whooshing sound attacked from the side, fierce and rapid. He sharply caught the noise and dodged in an instant. Bang! A black tentacle slammed right where Xiang Beifei had just been. Against the tree, snapping branches as thick as a wrist, Xiang Beifei focused his eyes and saw the creature vanish into the woods in a blur of motion, too fast for him to get a clear look. At that moment, the branches rustled noisily. Taking advantage of the cover, the creature moved rapidly, instantly circling to Beifei's rear and once again launching a tentacle at him. Xiang Beifei clutched the breath soil in his hand, turning it into a giant hammer, and without a second thought, swung it behind him. Bang! His reaction was quick. The hammer struck the tentacle mid-air. The tentacle was quite long, about 2 meters, and after being hit, it whipped around the branches and then quickly retracted. Whoosh! 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 6 consecutive times the opponent struck from different angles, its movement swift, the shadowy strikes darting back and forth, dazzling to the eye. Fortunately, Xiang Beifei's strength was also considerable, and his reactions were quick enough to evade such attacks. However, he soon realized that this creature was aiming to change positions and engage in hit-and-run tactics. Forests are the dominion of desolate beasts. If it turned into a guerrilla fight, he would be at a disadvantage. He had to end the battle quickly. His mind, relying on the learn by analogy learning ability, quickly analyzed the enemy's 6 striking positions. Desolate beasts all have fixed habits. Their timing and direction of attacks can be discerned, and a pattern can usually be found. Once you grasp that pattern, it's easy to find their weaknesses. Soon he deduced where the next attack would come from. Still thinking of ambushing me? Xiang Beifei turned the breath soil in his hand into a large cleaver, and before the creature could strike, he chopped towards the top. Halfway through his swing, the tentacle reached down from above, meeting Xiang Beifei's cleaver head-on. Splurt! Xiang Beifei's breath soil sliced right through the tentacle. As the tentacle fell from above, Xiang Beifei finally saw that it somewhat resembled a monkey's paw. A woo! A painful howl echoed through the forest. The severed tentacle tried to retract, but with a tap of his toe on the trunk, Xiang Beifei released a ripple of spiritual power, propelling himself high into the air. At the same time, the abruptly stop aura swept over, striking the shadowy figure and instantly taking effect on his opponent. The fleeing figure paused mid-air, then fell down, but after dropping half a meter, it broke free from the binding of abruptly stop. Xiang Beifei's abruptly stop required hitting the target first in order to bind their movements, but if the opponent was strong enough, they could break the bondage. However, even if the bind lasted only 2 seconds, Xiang Beifei had seen the opponent's appearance. It was an extremely vicious-looking black monkey with sharp fangs protruding from its mouth, each at least 3 inches long, drool dripping down the fangs. Its body was covered in luxuriant fur, but most importantly, it had 2 tails. The tails were so long, about 2 meters, and while they had no fur, each end had a claw. One of those claws had been chopped off by Xiang Beifei, and the stump was still bleeding. This black monkey had a total of 6 claws, including the 2 on its tails, which were particularly nimble. But now, one of them had been severed by Xiang Beifei, and the creature looked exceedingly furious as it leaped onto a tree branch, roaring at Beifei. Based on Xiang Beifei's estimation, this twin-tailed beast-hand monkey had a strength roughly at the mid-stage of chi controlling. It was very fast and somewhat difficult to handle. However, fortunately, he had cut off one of its tentacles and had figured out its attack pattern, so he should be able to deal with it. But this was clearly not the 3 Souls Desolate Snake, so likely not his target. Don't provoke me, or you're going to regret it. Xiang Beifei didn't want to waste energy on this strange black monkey, but the monkey's shape flickered and vanished again amongst the trees, apparently trying to attack him again using the cover of leaves. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The branches around him trembled rapidly, as the black monkey shifted its position just as quickly. It moved so fast that shadows appeared on branches in every direction, as if many were encircling Beifei. Told you not to provoke me. A gleam of light flashed in Xiang Beifei's eyes. As the black monkey dashed from behind him, he threw a punch towards a tree branch ahead. Boom! Stay connected through mvlenovelbin.net. His fist accurately struck the black monkey's forehead, eliciting a miserable shriek from the animal as it fell to the forest floor, struggling a few times, clearly not going to survive. Dealing with one peculiar black monkey was simple enough. He was about to deliver a finishing blow when suddenly, countless roaring sounds emerged from the woods, followed by 1, 2, 3. More and more black monkeys were racing towards them from the distance, and in the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 were charging his way. Stirred up a hornet's nest. Xiang Beifei didn't hesitate to turn and run, without a moment's doubt. He could handle a twin-tailed tendril monkey at the mid-stage of chi controlling by himself, and even 8 or 9 of them, by his reckoning, it would be touch and go. But once their numbers exceeded 10, he definitely couldn't beat them since they would take cover among the branches, flickering around, dealing low blows now and then. Each black monkey had 2 absurdly long bizarre tails with claws on them. If 10 attacked at once, that would mean 20 clawed tails. In the forest, he couldn't possibly fend off 20 tails with his bare hands. He must lure them into an open area. Without the camouflage of the branches, The monkey's agility was sure to fall a notch, giving Xiang Beifei a chance to fight this horde of monkeys. The elite students spectating at Liangzhou University Training Ground number 1 couldn't help but exclaim in shock when they saw Xiang Beifei suddenly being attacked by so many black monkeys. Yi Chongfeng's expression changed slightly. A troop of mid-stage chi-controlling claw-tailed monkeys. Yu Qixin, what are you up to? Yi Chongfeng stared at Yu Qixin, seated not far from him, and shouted. Claw-tailed monkeys of this strength, even in groups, would be nothing but a one-sword kill in his eyes. But the problem was that Xiang Beifei was only a mid-stage chi-controlling practitioner. The fact that he had managed to kill a claw-tailed monkey so quickly earlier had already surprised him. However, claw-tailed monkeys are social animals. If one is killed, the others become enraged and seek revenge on the target. Yu Qixin's face also darkened slightly. He had chosen the training ground carefully. The swamp was the lair of the Three Souls Desolate Snake. But he hadn't told Xiang Beifei any of this, providing no information to him and letting him find his own way. It just so happened that the Three Souls Desolate Snake had left its nest, and Xiang Beifei had followed, only to run into a troop of passing claw-tailed monkeys. Anything could happen out there in the wilderness outside the domain. Even he couldn't guarantee that the swamp was the exclusive territory of the Three Souls Desolate Snake. Sometimes other desolate beasts would pass through another's domain. Desolate beasts are fierce, and they naturally harbor hostility towards humans. As soon as they see a human, they will definitely attack. If he can't hold on, he'll naturally come back, Yu Qixin said coldly. However, his heart was a bit unsettled. Because Xiang Beifei had been chased by the horde of monkeys and had strayed from the Three Souls Desolate Snake's lair, entering other areas of the wilderness outside the domain. Though he wanted to see Xiang Beifei tormented, he absolutely couldn't watch him die. Otherwise, not even Yi Chongfeng, but the school's leadership wouldn't let him off the hook. If the news that an N-level student was thrown into the wilderness outside the domain during the entrance examination of Liangzhou University and lost their life got out, it would cause a much bigger stir than the article written by Yu Lei. When Yu Lei wrote the article, public opinion in Zhuzhou was against the 9 elite universities, with the other 8 universities being attacked even more. Liangzhou University at least gave N-level students a chance and was less criticized. But if an N-level student died during the entrance examination trial in the wilderness outside the domain, Liangzhou University would likely be drowned in criticism. This fool! Couldn't he just beat it and hurry back? Yu Qixin looked at Xiang Beifei in the training ground and cursed inwardly. Xiang Beifei was running as fast as he could. But this was a jungle, and the monkeys were even faster. Soon, the claw-tailed monkeys jumped ahead of him through the trees, screeching by his side, and long tails like tentacles reached out to grab him from all around. Seizing the right moment, the fist flame in his hand surged violently and slammed into the nearest claw-tailed monkey. The violent gust generated by his punch was extremely fierce, and it smashed into the monkey's head. Bang! Xiang Beifei blew the claw-tailed monkey's head apart, scattering its brains. Net. He had trained Rapid Flame to an extremely tyrannical level. Facing a mid-stage chi-controlling claw-tailed monkey head-on was not a challenge for him, but after he had killed another claw-tailed monkey, he further enraged the others. The monkeys howled in furious rage and charged at him from all directions. At this moment, he burst out of the jungle and suddenly the landscape opened up before him. There was a small hill in front covered with jagged rocks and various weeds. In the midst of the rocky hillside, there was a cave that seemed just large enough to allow a person to crawl inside. He hesitated for a moment, then immediately ran toward the cave. With the protection of tree branches, these claw-tailed monkeys were incredibly agile, accustomed to guerrilla tactics, retreating after a missed attack. Perhaps by taking advantage of the cave, he could hold his ground at the entrance, allowing for a frontal confrontation. Without the tree branches for cover, the monkey's combat abilities would be reduced by a notch, and he could resolve each monkey with a single punch. However, as he approached the cave, he suddenly realized that this was the wilderness, filled with desolate beasts, and it was highly unlikely that the cave was a safe place. It could very well be a desolate beast's lair. No sooner had this thought occurred to him than his keen instincts made him abruptly stop and dart to the side. Almost in the instant, he dodged. A sharp hissing noise came from the cave, followed by a tongue as thick as a water bucket lashing out violently, extending about 10 meters long and instantly wrapping around one of the black monkeys that had been chasing Xiang Beifei. Then, with a slurp sound, the monkey was dragged back into the cave. Oh! The cave echoed with the screams of the claw-tailed monkey and the crunching sounds of bones being chewed, cracking noise resounding. What the heck is that? Xiang Beifei was inwardly shocked. The sound was full of crunching, but he definitely did not want to provoke it. However, at that moment, another hissing noise came from the cave, and this time, the massive tongue rolled out again, even faster, targeting him. This time, Xiang Beifei couldn't dodge quickly enough, and he was immediately caught by the sticky tongue, which sent him flying back toward the cave. Darkness enveloped him in an instant. The wind howled around him, accompanied by a strong scent of blood and the stench of decay, exceptionally pungent. He struggled with all his might, his hands shining with flames as rapid flame roared, striking the tongue. Hum! The powerful flame of rapid flame, swirling with a burst of violent gusts, charred the ghastly thing's tongue. It seemed to have not anticipated Xiang Beifei's punch, and the tongue loosened slightly, as if it feared the flames. Seizing the opportunity, Xiang Beifei grasped a protruding rock on the cave wall and broke free from the slippery tongue, landing on the ground. The outside of the cave was quite large, but the inside was very low, barely over a meter high, forcing Xiang Beifei to bend his waist and preventing him from standing upright. The depths of the cave were once again filled with the sound of whooshing. It seemed the tongue was curling towards him again, but this time he didn't give it a chance to ensnare him. Facing the depths of the cave, he blasted out a ferocious flame. The fire turned into a powerful flame gale, guarding in front of him, and at that moment, the tongue also struck violently. Buzz! Xiang Beifei's punch, infused with spiritual power, stirred up high temperatures within the flame gale. As it blocked the advance of the tongue, the flame also clung to it, instantly igniting the huge tongue with rapid flame. The tongue immediately recoiled, but it was already ablaze, lighting up the cave and revealing glimpses of its depths about 10 meters in. The glow of the flames allowed Xiang Beifei to vaguely see what lay inside. At the far end of the cave, there was a bloated, soft-bodied creature, piled up like a mass about 3 meters wide, unspeakably disgusting, like a soft-bodied snail magnified hundreds of times. It had its mouth wide open, revealing rows upon rows of sharp teeth of uncountable number, likely in the thousands, and incredibly sharp. If one were to be bitten, surely their bones would grind to dust. The claw-tailed monkey from before probably met its demise under those teeth. This soft-bodied monster seemed to dwell in the cave, waiting for any desolate beast to pass by outside the cave, then extending its tongue to lick and consume them, much like a gecko. The claw-tailed monkey it had just eaten didn't even leave a trace. The fire conjured by Xiang Beifei's spiritual power clung to the monster's tongue, setting it aflame. Twisted in pain but made no sound. It seemed like the creature was mute. Steam began to rise from its body, and soon the flames were extinguished. And from the darkness, the sound of heavy breathing came again. It seemed to have been enraged and was preparing to coil around Xiang Beifei once more. Xiang Beifei had some understanding of how to deal with this large, soft-bodied creature and thought about rushing forward to land a punch directly on it. Its body seemed to have no defensive power, and a frontal attack with the flames should be effective. But after some thought, he decided to give up. Forget it. Time to retreat. Better safe than sorry, he muttered. Because the deeper into the cave he went, the lower it became, and it was inconvenient to fight in such conditions. Moreover, it was the beast's lair, giving it the home ground advantage. Besides, he had to hurry to find the Three Souls Desolate Snake, and there was no need to waste too much time here. Still, to leave the cave, he'd have to confront those black monkeys again. He decided to escape using the Flame Dragon escape. Xiang Beifei was carrying quite a lot of items. Lu Hong had given him many system items last time, and he had used 4 to ignite his constellations but kept 1 flame dragon escape for emergencies. Net. The items given by Lu Hong were all selected based on an estimation of Xiang Beifei's strength, ensuring they would be usable by him, and now they were coming in handy. Xiang Beifei crushed the spirit talisman of the flame dragon escape. A ferocious fire dragon roared as it coiled around him, and with a loud boom, flames exploded, and Xiang Beifei's figure was no longer in the cave. Everyone in the training area was unsettled. Their line of sight had lost track of Xiang Beifei. The reason they could see what was happening to Xiang Beifei was that a small iron ball was buzzing around like a tracker, recording the entire event. When Xiang Beifei was pulled into the cave by the huge tongue, the small iron ball followed him, resulting in complete darkness on screen, obscuring the view. When it flew back out of the cave, it hovered like a headless fly, waiting for Xiang Beifei. Everyone thought that after being taken by the tongue, Xiang Beifei would crush a teleportation sphere to return. But after waiting for a long time, there was no sign of him. He hadn't teleported back. By now, the claw-tailed monkeys that had been pursuing Xiang Beifei had already left, clearly not daring to provoke the creature in the cave. That tongue, it belongs to a ghost giant snail. Yuqi-shin, where are the 2 people you sent to protect him? Yi Changfeng asked furiously. Yuqi-shin also stood up with a grim expression. Although he wanted to make things difficult for Xiang Beifei, he had never intended for Xiang Beifei to die. At this moment, on the large screen at the training ground, 2 boys dressed in camouflaged green outfits appeared. They were Guohan and Sun Rue, sent by Yuqi-shin. They only showed up now and appeared at the entrance of the ghost giant snail's den. The small iron ball floated above them, circling around them leisurely. Are these the 2 you sent? They only take action after everyone is gone. Yi Changfeng glared at Yuqi-shin with uncontainable fury. Aren't you going to use the teleportation sphere to forcibly bring Xiang Beifei back right now? Yuqi-shin fell silent for a moment before saying, the teleportation array I inscribed on the iron ball can only be used near that marsh. He can only be teleported back once he returns to the vicinity of the array. You! Yi Changfeng looked extremely angry. Teleportation spheres were not omnipotent. The outer wilderness beyond the boundaries was very dangerous, with various strange forces rampant. These forces would suppress human systematic abilities. Hence humans faced great restrictions when moving around in the outer wilderness. Additionally, with the vast expanse of the outer wilderness, the distance of teleportation was greatly limited. A rough positioning area was needed. Once deviated from this area, the teleportation sphere would become useless. When Xiang Beifei was being chased by the claw-tailed monkey in the marsh, Yuqi-shin originally contemplated forcibly pulling him back. However, considering that Guohan and Sun Rue were nearby, he refrained. As a result, Xiang Beifei ran out of the teleportation range. And Yuqi-shin did not inform Xiang Beifei about the characteristics of the teleportation sphere, nor did he warn Xiang Beifei not to stray away from the marsh. When sending Xiang Beifei over, he explained nothing, leading Xiang Beifei to be unaware of these details. Elder Luo. Yi Changfeng turned to look for Luo Lao-tu, but apart from a pile of sunflower seed shells, there was no sign of Luo Lao-tu. Luo Lao-tu had left without anyone noticing when. Yi Changfeng had a pretty good idea of where he had gone. Yuqi-shin, if anything happens to this kid, I will never let you off the hook. Yi Changfeng left these harsh words behind, took a step, and without further hesitation, vanished on the spot, determined to head into the outer wilderness by himself. Enter and check on that ghost giant snail. Be careful. Yuqi-shin ordered Guohan and Sun Rue through Xiaofei Ball's communicator. Xiaofei Ball was a monitoring device but also served the purpose of transmitting signals. Since the area where Xiang Beifei was located, the South Mountain Second District of the cultivated domain, was still relatively close to human habitation, the interference from the wilderness forces was not too strong, so the signal transmission was still functioning. Guohan and Sun Rue exchanged a glance. They were quite familiar with the ghost giant snail, knowing how to kill it. The creature was fragile with low defensive power, which is why it hid in the cave, relying on its protection. However, its tongue was very troublesome. Even they had to be cautious about it. At that moment, the huffing sound echoed once more from inside the den. The ghost giant snail obviously smelled the two people at its entrance, and its tongue lashed out violently. "Now's our chance," Sun Rue shouted. In Guahan's hand appeared a glass sphere. As the ghost giant snail's tongue swept toward him, he had already thrown the glass sphere at it, and at the same time he swiftly retreated more than 10 meters. The tongue did not catch him, but the glass sphere landed on the long tongue and was retracted back into the cave. Bang! A puff of blue smoke emanated from the cave. "We can go in now," Guahan shouted. The glass sphere was designed specifically for combating the ghost giant snail. They had been allowed to enter the outer wilderness because they were well trained. They had prepared for what kinds of desolate beasts might be in this area and what tools to use against specific species. Guahan and Sun Rue had studied the ghost giant snail and thus had prepared many tools, including this glass sphere, which were invented by students specializing in desolate beasts. The school had majors dedicated to researching the weaknesses of desolate beasts, and students in that field would study desolate beasts' vulnerabilities, creating various items to combat specific types of desolate beasts. These items could be requested from the school's labs, and any student venturing into the outer wilderness must carry these specific protective tools, just in case. However, Xiang Beifei had none of these tools. Yuqi did not prepare any for him, and simply had him come over with a teleportation sphere. Xiang Beifei did not even know what to call this long-tongued desolate beast, and this asymmetry of information put him at a substantial disadvantage. Guahan and Sun Rue had already entered the cave, carrying lighting tools that illuminated the ghost giant snail's lurking den, with Xiaofei trailing behind them. This time, Yuqi and the others could see clearly inside. The ghost giant snail was extremely afraid of corrosive substances. Once the glass orbs were crushed, they would burst into a cloud of corrosive smoke, which would cover the body of the ghost giant snail and corrode it into a puddle of liquid. The cave was damp, with water gushing out. The massive body of the ghost giant snail had been corroded to nothing but a sack of skin. It was a soft-bodied creature. Its body turned into water, leaving only its long, thick tongue, about 10 meters in length. Guahan, pinching his nose, fiddled within that skin sack twice, pulling out a bunch of broken bones. His face drastically changed as he said, "These bones, they couldn't be that kid's, could they?" Sun Rue also squatted down, looking at the pile of broken bones. The ghost giant snail had incredibly strong digestive abilities. Anything it consumed would be digested almost in the blink of an eye, except the bones, which would take a bit longer to digest. "These bones look a lot like human bones. This is bad." Sun Rue's brows were deeply furrowed. "Those are not his bones. They're from a claw-tailed monkey. Are you complete idiots?" He surely found a chance to escape. "Go around and look for him. Quick!" Yuqi shouted. Not everyone was permitted to venture into the wilderness beyond the domain. Beyond human territories, there was a layer of defense intended to ward off desolate beast invasions, and aside from specific individuals, ordinary people were not allowed to leave the Jojo territory. If students from the elite schools wanted to go into the wilderness, they too had to be transported to the boundary before entering the wilderness, or like Yuqi set up a specific portal point. All 9 universities were located at the very outer edge of human territories, closest to the wilderness to facilitate training students in the wilderness. "Son of a bitch, if my pre-designated student goes missing, I'll tear you to pieces," Elder Luo cursed as he ran towards his established portal point. Originally, when Xiang Beifei was transported there, he thought there wouldn't be any major issues since, with the transport orb, Xiang Beifei could return even if he encountered danger. However, once Xiang Beifei deviated from the range of the portal point, he became anxious, ignoring any impulse to blame Yuqi and immediately rushed into the external wilderness. Net. Just like Yuqi, he normally set up several portal points in the low-risk areas around the external wilderness. Though his portal points were far from Yuqi location, the wilderness outside the domain was vast. Even a relatively safer area like the cultivated domain was immensely vast. He found the nearest portal point, but getting there still took an hour. "Elder Luo, what should we do?" Yi Changfeng also had his own set of portal points for training students, not far from Elder Luo's. So when he hurried over, he sensed Elder Luo's furious presence and quickly followed. What else can we do? Go find him and bring him back. He's just a novice. Knows nothing. He didn't even bring any tools to deal with desolate beasts. And now he's strayed from the portal point. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. When we get back, I'm definitely going to hang that Yuchi son of a bitch up and beat him. Elder Luo cursed angrily, yet his speed did not decrease. The wilderness outside the domain was fraught with danger, potentially encountering various dangerous desolate beasts at any moment. If tangled up and unable to teleport back, Xiang Beifei, lacking the experience of Guohan and Sun Rue, was in great danger. Elder Luo had already placed all his leisure points into his speed, rapidly leaving Yi Changfeng far behind. Yi Changfeng moved by sword flight. Although not as fast as Elder Luo, he was still incredibly quick, leaving only a shadow in the air. Xiang Beifei sat behind a rock, lost in thought. He had already checked the area. Even the ants the size of fists crawling under his feet were stomped to death by him. The flame dragon escape had brought him out, but he was unclear on the direction he was taken to, as it was random, potentially in any direction, although according to the distance of the escape, it should be about 200 meters away from that cave. However, to be safe, he ran further away, just in case he was caught up by that group of monkeys again. He tapped the iron ring on his wrist, which seemed unresponsive. Yuchi-shin hadn't provided him with any information about this assessment or how to return, but he noticed something unusual about the iron ring. At the swampy area, the ring clearly flickered with fluctuations, but once he left the swamp, the ring's aura quieted down, becoming still. This likely meant that the wrist iron ring needed to be in the swampy area to function, and then it could take him back. Forget it. First return to the swampy area to look for the Three Souls Desolate Snake. Xiang Beifei decided to head back to the swampy area. He had just left to see if the iron ring showed any sign of activity again. He climbed a tree and looked around. The group of monkeys had chased him out of the swamp, and then the flame dragon escape had carried him over 200 meters away in a direction, leaving him clueless about his whereabouts. Unfamiliar with the region, he needed to reorient himself to the swamp's direction. I remember there was a small hill just now. The soft-bodied monster was under that cave, meaning I came from that direction, and the flame dragon escape took me to the back of the mountain. If he wanted to return to the marsh, Xiang Beifei would have had to cross a small hill less than 50 meters high. However, for safety, he decided against climbing over it. Instead, he planned to go around the hill so he wouldn't run into that soft-bodied monster again. The hill wasn't big, and taking the detour would only add about 10 more minutes to his journey. Using the hill as a center point, Xiang Beifei moved around its base, keeping his body as low as possible and hiding in the thick grass. It hadn't been 10 minutes since he arrived in the wilderness beyond the domain, and he had already encountered numerous dangers, so he had to be cautious. The topography of the wilderness beyond the domain was extremely poor, littered with chaotic rocks. Because no one lived nearby, there weren't any proper paths. The grass grew wildly, as tall or short as it liked, with some even taller than Xiang Beifei himself. He trekked through the tall grass, pushing aside the prickly stems. But at that moment, a hissing sound suddenly came from the brush, followed by a sharp snake tail sweeping towards him. Whoosh! Xiang Beifei leaped backward 2 steps and dodged the unexpected snake tail. He grasped the breath soil again, reshaping it into a machete which felt more manageable in this environment. This place was truly dangerous, with a desolate beast lurking every few steps. If he wasn't careful, he might lose his life without even knowing how. Hiss! A massive snake head emerged from the grass, its body as thick as a bucket and approximately 10 meters long. Its body was pitch black and densely covered in scales that shimmered with an iron-black luster, making them look extremely tough. What caught Xiang Beifei's attention the most were the 3 long horns on its head. 3 horns. Could this be the Three Souls Desolate Snake? Xiang Beifei turned and asked Xiaohe. Woof, woof, woof. Xiaohe also seemed puzzled as he scrutinized the giant snake, unsure of what it was. Neither of them knew what the Three Souls Desolate snake looked like. The previous snake had run off from the marshland, so they still weren't clear about their target. But this snake had 3 large horns, fitting the character 3. Since it was already targeting him, running would only lead to being chased, so he decided to deal with it first. Xiang Beifei focused on the triangular-headed snake, feeling a great deal of pressure from it. Its aura was approximately at the late stage of chi controlling, but as long as it wasn't playing dirty tricks like that giant mucus monster, he should be able to handle it. Whoosh! His fists surged with powerful flames, and in a flash, he charged at the giant snake. The triangular snake, seeing Xiang Beifei charging towards it, twisted its body in anger. Its blue snake eyes emitted a lightning bolt, shooting directly at Xiang Beifei. Xiang Beifei was swift but hadn't expected the snake's eyes to emit lightning. The lightning, accompanied by a bursting sound, nearly struck him, but fortunately he reacted quickly and dodged sideways. The lightning struck the grass instead, cutting through it like a lawnmower and sending up puffs of black smoke. Such powerful lightning! Xiang Beifei steadied himself, dodging another blue lightning bolt. He swiftly moved closer and leaped behind the snake, swinging his breath soil machete down at its vital 7 inches. Clang! Sounded like a clash of metal. The black snake scale armor was incredibly tough, numbing his right hand from the impact, and he couldn't cut through the scales. At that moment, the black snake's tail curled back, attempting to trap Xiang Beifei. He stepped on the snake's body, using it as leverage to leap into the air before swinging a fist down onto the snake's head. Bang! The snake's head was extremely hard. Xiang Beifei instead was sent flying, but his spiritual power sparked flames that wildly enveloped the black snake's body. The flames spread along the texture of the scales, igniting its entire body. The black snake thrashed in terror and pain on the ground, trying to shake off the bizarre flames. Meanwhile, blue lightning shot wildly around, slicing the surrounding grass into disarray. Xiang Beifei had already gotten back on his feet. Its weak spot isn't the 7 inches. This creature's weak spot is the eyes. During his brief engagement with the black snake, he quickly, using learn by analogy, analyzed the opponent's method of attack thoroughly. Although the black snake seemed to fear the flames, the fire didn't inflict a fatal wound. Instead, it continually protected its eyes. Blinding it should practically seal its fate. Whoosh! Xiang Beifei, taking advantage of the snake trying to extinguish the flames, flashed over again, his breath soil now shaped like a dagger. The black snake had obviously noticed Xiang Beifei's intention. After its lightning attack was dodged by Xiang Beifei, it opened its foul-smelling mouth wide and lunged at him. However, Xiang Beifei had already figured out the snake's attack pattern. The creature's attempt to bite him was anticipated. He clenched his left fist and punched the snake's lower jaw, forcing the snake's head upward, and then he thrust the dagger in his right hand downward into the snake's left eye. Crash! Blinded in one eye, the black snake erupted with blue blood spraying from its eye, contorting in pain. It swung its tail, knocking Xiang Beifei away while its other eye shot out lightning, striking Xiang Beifei's shoulder. Xiang Beifei felt a numbness in his shoulder. His left arm was paralyzed and he couldn't lift it, but as he was flung away, he seized the moment in midair to throw the breath soil again. The dagger formed from the breath soil traced a brown arc of light through the air, striking the black snake's other eye precisely. Bang! The massive body of the black snake collapsed, scattering weeds all over the ground. Massaging his shoulder, Xiang Beifei climbed up from the ground and sat on the messy grass, looking at the dead snake and heaving a sigh of relief. This snake was powerful, its strength and defense comparable to late-stage chi-controlling creatures, impervious to swords and spears and definitely unbeatable in a head-on fight. Xiang Beifei would have probably suffered badly. Fortunately, he was able to spot its weakness and analyze its attack pattern to deliver a fatal blow, or else he would have been in big trouble. Still, he had suffered a serious injury. The snake's lightning had seared a black wound onto his shoulder, which was very painful. He massaged it, circulating his spiritual power to drive away the numbness. Woof, woof, woof! Xiao He bounded out excitedly, landing on the snake's body and fumbling around. Then, with a swipe of its paw, it slit the snake's skin open effortlessly. Xiang Beifei watched Xiaohe in surprise. I had no idea your claws were so sharp. He had been fighting the snake for a while and hadn't managed to cut through the snake's skin. But Xiaohe did it with a single swipe of its paw. Woof, woof, woof. Xiaohe rummaged through the snake's body and pulled out a fist-sized blue crystal stone. A spiritual power crystal? Xiang Beifei was taken aback. Everyone's system items were actually transformed from spiritual power crystals, but Xiaohe's action implied that every desolate beast also had a spiritual power crystal inside it. However, according to textbooks, this kind of thing was known as a beast pill in desolate beasts, likely present in every desolate beast, encapsulating the essence of a beast's life, though their power varied. Many beast pills could be used to make powerful tools and energy sources, which were crucial for humans in desperate need of energy and could fetch a good price on the market. Experience exclusive tales on mvlenovelbin.net. Woof, woof, woof. Can the beast pill also light up a constellation? Xiang Beifei's eyes lit up. This great snake was just the right strength for late-stage chi controlling. However, he had already collected many late-stage chi controlling spiritual power crystals. The headmaster had given him some and he got others as well. He didn't really need this particular beast pill. Collect it, maybe I can sell it next time. Xiang Beifei looked at the corpse of the black snake, but soon encountered a problem. How can I take such a big snake back? Without a system, Xiang Beifei couldn't use any kind of spatial storage technique created by the system to carry such a large thing, which would also be inconvenient for moving around. Puff! Xiaohe puffed up its cheeks and spat out a little bubble from its mouth. The bubble landed on the large snake and immediately covered it, swiftly shrinking the 10-meter-long snake's massive body until it was the size of a thumb-sized glass bead. You have this ability too? Xiang Beifei was delighted. Normally Xiaohe would just roll around on his shoulder, occasionally come down to eat, burp contentedly, and then sleep. He had almost never counted on it during a fight. Now he realized Xiaohe had more capabilities than he knew. Using its tail, Xiaohe nudged the little bubble containing the snake, nudging and nudging, then tilted its head and said, Woof, woof, woof. I don't know if this is a 3-souls desolate snake. Doesn't it have 3 horns? Woof, woof, woof. Xiaohe sniffed the ground with its nose, then pointed forward with its little paw. Xiaohe meant that there was also the presence of snakes ahead, and it seemed there were many snake-type desolate beasts nearby, and they could go look for more. After pondering for a moment, Xiang Beifei said, Okay, let's go check it out. He felt his energy was still quite robust. For some reason, although he had fought with a giant black snake, he wasn't tired at all. His spiritual power even quickly replenished itself. Turning to look at his shoulder, where he had been burned in the exchange with the black snake, he noticed that a surge of spiritual power not his own had emerged and rapidly healed his wound. This spiritual power? Xiang Beifei was somewhat puzzled, then suddenly remembered that he had eaten some of Luo Laotu's sunflower seeds today. Could those seeds not only replenish spiritual power but also heal injuries? Luo Laotu had been so polite in offering him to eat those seeds, and it turned out there were benefits after all. He got up and ran in the direction Xiaohe had indicated, carefully avoiding other desolate beasts along the way. He even accidentally stepped on and killed a centipede the size of a chopstick. The blood of the centipede splashed onto his pants, corroding a hole in the fabric. Luckily, this centipede wasn't strong, but with so many desolate beasts around, he had to be cautious. About 10 minutes of running later, following Xiaohe's guidance, he pushed through a thicket of thorny bushes and quickly saw a large snake as long as a carrying pole lying in a ditch. The snake was completely white, but uniquely, there were 3 red ring-like patterns encircling its neck. 3 rings. It matched the 3 in 3 souls. Xiang Beifei looked at the giant black snake with 3 horns in the small bubble, and then at the white snake with 3 red rings around its neck and fell into contemplation. Could this also be the 3 souls desolate snake? Learned by analogy couldn't help him confirm what the 3 souls desolate snake was precisely. Without an illustrated handbook, he didn't know if the one he killed was the right one. The 3 horns might be the 3 souls desolate snake, and so could the 3 rings. Chin in hand, Xiang Beifei thought for a moment and said, "Why not kill both? Since we don't recognize it, just kill a few more and take them back for them to choose. One of them must be what they want." Yu Qixin had always been looking for a reason to find fault with him. If he didn't bring back the 3 souls desolate snake, who knew how his strange face would twist with smugness. Woof, woof, woof. Xiaohe leaped onto Xiang Beifei's shoulder, seemingly in full agreement. Killing desolate beasts and obtaining beast pills sounded good. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The 3 souls desolate snake had been napping in the water after just swallowing a ferocious man-eating mud loach and was digesting it when it suddenly raised its head to see a massive fist, ablaze with flames, smashing down towards it. The elite students at the training ground were all looking around. Today was supposed to be about observing the performance of the N-level newcomers during their entrance examination, but the training ground's big screen was instead showing Guohan and Sun Rue. It was hard to say whether it was these two being assessed at the moment or if it was the N-level newcomer. Guohan and Sun Rue had no idea which direction Xiang Beifei had gone off to since everyone had a system, and anything could happen. But considering that Xiang Beifei was only an N-level awakener, even with some system trick, he probably couldn't have gone too far. However, the wilderness beyond the domain was vast, and Xiang Beifei could have gone in any direction. Searching so aimlessly was undoubtedly like finding a needle in a haystack. But with the little iron ball following them, they were both very aware that this amounted to a live broadcast of the searching for Xiang Beifei operation, watched by many teachers and classmates. They couldn't complain and had to press on with the search. Most importantly, they could not shout, because if they called out Xiang Beifei's name, what might emerge was not necessarily Xiang Beifei but possibly various weird and vicious desolate beasts. "How are we supposed to find that freshman?" Guohan quietly asked. .net. Sun Rue glanced up at the iron ball above and whispered, "We have to find him whether or not we can. We failed to protect the new egg earlier, and we're definitely going to get scolded by Elder Yuchi. If we don't find him, do you dare to go back?" It was he who said not to intervene until the last moment. Guohan kicked a stone on the ground in frustration and muttered. After a moment, he added, "The wilderness outside the domain is so dangerous, and this area is particularly infested with snake-type desolate beasts. These desolate snakes are terrors even to ghosts and have eaten who knows how many people. Having left our protection, the newbie might have already become snake food by now. Stop complaining. Even if he's been eaten, we still have to find his bones or hair, or even a piece of his clothing would suffice to report back." Although the two were quietly complaining, neither dared to speak too loudly. They climbed the small hill where the ghost giant snail had lurked, looked around, and then walked down. But at that moment, there was a sudden outbreak of angry roars around them, and from the nearby woods, countless tentacles surged out. "Damn it! It's that group of claw-tailed monkeys from before." Guohan's complexion changed slightly, and he exclaimed in a low voice, eager to move because of the ghost giant snail's presence. The monkey group had lingered nearby, but when they quickly realized the snail had been eliminated, and Guohan and Sun Rue reappeared here, they set their sights on the two men. "Don't panic. The venom from the iron-flying hawk will make them lose their fighting strength." Sun Rue was relatively calm. They were well prepared after all, with all sorts of high-tech gear for dealing with desolate beasts in their backpacks. This was a low-risk area of the wilderness beyond the domain, and those high-tech devices were very effective. Although Guohan liked to complain, he was also competent. A shadow of black flicker passed before him, and a gorgeous crossbow was ready in his hands. Host, Guohan, S-grade, Divine Crossbow System, Realm, Late Chi Mastery. The Divine Crossbow System that Guohan had awakened possessed an extremely high accuracy rate. He was qualified to come to the desolate wilderness beyond the domain because his archery was unbeatable. He once faced the frontal barrage of 20 machine guns simultaneously with just a bow and arrow in simulated training. His crossbow arrows would split, a single shot splitting into countless smaller arrows. These arrows could automatically seek out targets, intercepting every bullet sprayed from the 20 machine guns. Not only that, his arrows could also unleash various strong elemental powers. Water arrows, fire arrows, and lightning arrows were nothing difficult. As long as his cultivation was high enough, the power of these arrows was extremely terrifying. At that moment, the claw-tailed monkeys angrily charged at them, their long tails swaying with sharp claws, seemingly eager to capture and devour the two men. Guohan had already drawn his bow and loaded an arrow before shouting to Sun Rue, "Come on!" Whoosh! Sun Rue, standing by, threw a red glass ball at the approaching group of claw-tailed monkeys. Simultaneously, Guohan fired his arrow. The crossbow arrow transformed into a streak of gray light, whistling through the air and instantly striking the glass ball. The glass ball exploded instantly, erupting a cloud of red mist, and then countless splitting arrows shot out from the mist. These arrows, imbued with the venom of the iron-flying hawk, surged toward the group of monkeys. Whoosh! 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 The originally ferocious group of monkeys became dazed and slow when they smelled the venom of the iron-flying hawk. Guohan's arrows zipped through the air, unerringly striking the suddenly clumsy claw-tailed monkeys. Bang! 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 Numerous cries of pain from the monkeys filled the air as Guohan's arrows, which had great penetrating power, targeted critical areas like the eyes and hearts. In the blink of an eye, the group of claw-tailed monkeys was entirely annihilated by his divine crossbow. Claw-tailed monkeys were extremely agile, much more so than machine gun bullets under normal circumstances. Even Guohan's archery might not have hit them all. However, the venom of the iron-flying hawk slowed them down, making it easy. "Nice archery," praised Sun Rue. "With the venom of the iron-flying hawk, it's simple. Yuchi the old demon didn't provide that newbie with the venom." "I'm starting to worry about him now," said Guohan as he put away his bow, resting it on his back. As an elite from Liangzhou University and a high scorer in simulated training classes, coupled with his knowledge of the weaknesses of claw-tailed monkeys and having tools specifically designed to counteract them, exterminating these monkeys was more than sufficient. However, Beifei had not been so lucky just now. He had been embarrassingly chased by the monkey group and had eventually lost them. The other students watching all of this praised Guohan's archery skills endlessly. Guohan's superior archery was his reliance on being allowed to train in the lower-risk zones of the wilderness beyond the domain. As long as he coordinated well, he could safely deal with these not very powerful desolate beasts. "Let's go. The smell of blood here will attract other desolate beasts soon." After exterminating the group of claw-tailed monkeys, the pair didn't linger and continued forward. However, they hadn't walked far when Sun Rue suddenly stopped, crouched down, and looked at the overgrown grass, saying, "Wait! It seems like a fight took place here recently." Find exclusive stories on m_el_enovelbin.net. The tall grass in the area, which was several meters high, was now chaotically slashed, and there were faint traces of lightning strikes. Upon examining the marks on the ground and seeing the traces of grass struck by lightning, Sun Rue exclaimed, "This is lightning from a triangular thunderkite." Triangular thunderkite. Guohan was taken aback and asked, "This creature is considered a dominant snake in this area. Looking at these battle traces, it must have been intense. Did it fight with something? It might be another type of snake. We need to be careful. This thing is too difficult to deal with. It might have encountered a fire snake. There are still traces of scorched flames, probably left by the fire snake's flames." Sun Rue said gravely. "Fire snake." Guohan tensed up. Fire snakes are even harder to handle than triangular thunderkites. They are natural enemies of each other. "Did you bring the ice pouch of the water bomb turtle?" "I did. But the ice pouch isn't very effective against fire snakes. And triangular thunderkites are even more troublesome. We need to get out of here fast. Triangular thunderkites are impervious to weapons, and without the strength of the meridian opening stage, you can't cut through their scale armor," Sun Rue said sternly. Just as their words ended, a loud roar suddenly burst forth from the bushes, and immediately a massive bolt of lightning shot toward them. "Damn, the triangular thunderkite is back. It looks like it has defeated the fire snake," Sun Rue exclaimed, grabbing Guohan and running backward, dodging the lightning strike with a swift move. Roar! The sound made by the triangular thunderkite was no longer a hiss but was now as deep and thunderous as a boom. Anyone who had studied the habits of the triangular thunderkite knew that when its cries turned so thunderous, it indicated it was in extreme anger, even madness. This triangular thunderkite was over 10 meters long, a male, and they usually appeared in pairs. Today, Xiong Leikue went out hunting and returned to find his mate gone, and stumbled upon these two humans, sparking his rage instantly. Crack, crack, crack. Countless bolts of lightning shot at Guohan and Sun Rue, utterly aggressive and unreasonable, wreaking havoc and scaring them greatly. This triangular thunderkite was at the realm Late Chi mastery, the same as both Guohan and Sun Rue, but much stronger, because its scale armor was entirely impenetrable. The only weak spot was its eyes. This knowledge they had learned in their specialty classes. If you encounter a triangular thunderkite in the wild, you either run or figure out a way to blind it. Shoot its eyes, quick! Sun Rue shouted. Guohan had already fitted his bow with an arrow, lighting up with a gray glow, spiritual power cycling through the crossbow, and with a loud blast, the arrow transformed into a rapid stream of light, speeding towards the triangular thunderkite's eyes. But the triangular thunderkite simply shot out 2 bolts of lightning and directly turned Guohan's arrow into ashes. It turned its head, saw Guohan who had shot the arrow, roared, and sent several bolts of lightning slashing towards Guohan. No good. Its lightning is too strong. Guohan rolled to the side, ducking his head to dodge another bolt of lightning. The lightning struck the grass beside him. Luckily the grass wasn't set ablaze, only sheared away. I'll divert its attention, you shoot it. Sun Rue stepped on a rock. His body agilely lunged forward. Then he pounced towards the triangular thunderkite. The triangular thunderkite, seeing Sun Rue lunging at it, roared fiercely, sweeping its tail at him. But Sun Rue twisted his body, dodged swiftly, and laid a hand on the triangular thunderkite's tail. His palm held no force, unable to shake the triangular thunderkite. But the moment his hand touched the triangular thunderkite, the skin on his hand began to change and consolidate, turning into scales that looked exactly like those of the triangular thunderkite. Host. Sun Rue. S-Class. Beast Transformation System. Realm. Late Chi Mastery. Sun Rue's ability allowed him to beast transform his body. As long as he had been in contact with a desolate beast within the last 5 minutes, he could mimic a powerful characteristic of that beast. The triangular thunderkite possessed powerful thunder eyes and hard scale armor, as well as a snake's unique flexibility. Sun Rue, weighing his options, knew he couldn't mimic the thunder eyes. It would be pointless to trade shots with the triangular thunderkite. His own lightning wouldn't break through its defenses, nor would it have enough accuracy to hit its eyes. Hence, he could only mimic the triangular thunderkite's hard-scale armor. Now Sun Rue's entire body was enveloped in black-scale armor, resembling a snake-skin man. Facing the triangular thunderkite, he fearlessly lunged at it, ready to engage the triangular thunderkite in combat and create a chance for Guohan to shoot the triangular thunderkite. The triangular thunderkite saw Sun Rue approach it voluntarily, its eyes turning incredibly cold. It unleashed powerful lightning again, striking Sun Rue. Sun Rue did not dodge. His scale armor was the same as the opponent's, offering equal defense. The lightning that struck him was instantly repelled. Quick, now is the chance. Sun Rue deftly maneuvered around the triangular thunderkite. Being a strength-type cultivator, he could withstand the desolate beast to the end as long as his defense was strong enough. Sun Rue entangled himself with the triangular thunderkite. His attacks were already powerful, but regrettably, the triangular thunderkite's defense was even more monstrous. His strength wasn't enough to break through the opponent's scale armor, and the knife in his hand that aimed for the triangular thunderkite's eyes was directly flung away. Taking advantage of Sun Rue engaging the triangular thunderkite, Guohan aimed his arrows again at the beast's eyes. Whoosh! 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 Numerous arrow shadows crossed the sky, yet the triangular thunderkite, extremely agile, dealt with both men with ease. It noticed that Sun Rue's defense was the same as its own and completely ignored him, concentrating fully on dealing with Guohan, who was shooting arrows from a distance. Crack, crack, crack. Its lightning targeted Guohan, causing his face to pale dramatically. He could only escape awkwardly to the side, his arrows being completely countered, finding no suitable opportunity. Meanwhile, the triangular thunder kite swept its tail, striking Sun Rue. The powerful force immediately flung Sun Rue away. Bang! Sun Rue crashed to the ground. Although he had the defensive capabilities of a triangular thunderkite, his strength was not nearly enough to counteract the beast. The tail whip hit his chest, and though it did not break his skin, it stifled his breath. At that moment, the tail of the triangular thunderkite wrapped around Sun Rue, firmly grasping him, and then pressed his body backwards. Snakes love to coil around their prey and then crush their bones, causing them to suffocate to death. Sun Rue's face turned drastically pale. No matter how strong his external defense, he was still human with bones. If his body were crushed, he would surely die. In a desperate moment, he quickly gave up mimicking the defense of the triangular thunderkite and instead mimicked its flexibility, narrowly and dangerously freeing himself from the body of the triangular thunderkite. But it struck him again. This time he couldn't transform his defense in time, and endured a blow directly, screaming miserably as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His left hand twisted at an odd angle, clearly broken. "We're done for." Guohan hurried over, grabbed Sun Rue, and then turned and fled into the distance. The elite students watching were all incredibly frightened by this. This was not a simulation, but the actual desolate wilderness where death was a possibility. The situation had gone beyond their expectations. The strength of the triangular thunderkite was monstrously abnormal. None of the elite students present dared say they had the ability to face the triangular thunderkite alone. Most of them had been killed in simulation classes, let alone gaining an advantage in this kind of real combat. Guohan and Sun Rue, who had practiced during the simulations, were already among the top students of this group and had extensive combat experience in the desolate wilderness. Among the students present, practically no one was stronger than them. The awakening systems of the two were relatively formidable, but unexpectedly, they were left with no chance to retaliate when facing the triangular thunderkite. Merely meeting the beast had left Sun Rue severely disabled. While Guohan's skills were more suited to long-range attacks, his close combat ability was very poor. Now that Sun Rue was disabled, their situation was dire. This is bad. They're so unlucky to encounter such a creature as the triangular thunderkite. Yeah. Last time during a simulation class, it was mentioned that the triangular thunderkite in the South Mountain 2nd District of the cultivated domain is almost invincible among desolate beasts. The worst part is there's only one triangular thunderkite here. They usually appear in pairs. The other must have gone hunting and didn't come, or both of them would have been dead. Now that Sun Rue is disabled, is there any difference from them being dead? Many students were sweating for the two men. Today was supposed to be the entrance assessment for N-level freshmen, but unexpectedly, a freshman named Xiang Beifei got lost in the desolate wilderness, life or death unknown. Then, the two men sent to protect Xiang Beifei encountered the ferocious triangular thunderkite during their search, and one of them was severely injured. Currently, the triangular thunderkite had locked onto the scent of Guohan and Sun Rue, relentlessly pursuing them. The speed of the triangular thunderkite was also very fast, not weaker than Guohan's, and their death seemed almost certain. Your next read awaits at mv-novelbin.net. Everyone turned their gazes toward Yuqi-shen. The direction of the situation had deviated significantly from its initial intention, and it was Yuqi-shen who, in an attempt to complicate Xiang Beifei's entrance assessment, had caused this situation. Yuqi-shen's face appeared very somber. Even now he could not remain calm. Guohan and Sun Rue were selected students from his infernal training, rarely meeting the qualifications, and he had not expected them to be crippled by the triangular thunderkite. If something had happened to them on another desolate wilderness mission, it could only be attributed to their lack of skills. But this time it was his assigned protection mission, specifically set to trouble Xiang Beifei with an abnormal assessment. If these three were to die in the desolate wilderness, he would definitely be held accountable by his superiors. Boom! A massive skeletal snake crashed to the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 large vertebral bones. Doesn't look like it's the Three Souls desolate snake. Xiang Beifei counted the vertebrae of the skeletal snake, a look of regret in his eyes. Xiaohe, with its ability to distinguish snake auras, had led him to many snake-type desolate beasts in this area, and he had pummeled many snakes with his fists. Xiang Beifei was killing snakes based on the number 3, taking down all sorts of snakes with 3. Besides the black snake with 3 corners that could release lightning and the white snake with 3 red rings he had encountered at the beginning, he also found ones with 3 legs, 3 heads, 3 eyes, 3 forked tongues, 3 tails, 3 fangs, and even one with 3 eggs. In any case, since he could not determine which one was the Three Souls desolate snake, he collected them all just in case one of them met the criteria. It must be said that the variety of desolate beasts in the wilderness beyond the domain is truly vast, with snakes alone numbering in the hundreds of different kinds, especially in this region, which seems to have the most snakes. Winged ones, ones covered in fur, ones with 5 feet. He couldn't be bothered to deal with some that didn't meet the 3 requirement. Your next chapter is on mvellinovelbin.net. These snakes varied in strength. The weak ones he dispatched with a single punch, but the strong snakes required Xiang Beifei to spar with them a bit. The species of desolate beasts were quite complex, and each snake's weak point was not exactly the same. Some were the eyes, some were the belly, some were the forked tongue, but fortunately, Learn by Analogy possessed a great analytical and learning ability. After a few exchanges, he would usually figure out the weak point of the snake before him and know how to counter it. This area was considered a low-risk zone, with basically all the desolate beasts being in the chi-controlling stage. As long as it wasn't a snake with the strength of the Meridian Opening Realm, with the help of Breath Soil and Abruptly Stop, targeting their weak points made them fairly easy for Xiang Beifei to deal with. The 10-meter-long skeletal snake before him was also a type of snake desolate beast, but its name was unknown. When Xiang Beifei encountered it, it was all bones. Yet its bones were emitting strong flames, aggressive and intimidating. This bone snake had a formidable scorching ability, and its weakness needed to be countered with some special water. But Xiang Beifei, who had learned Rapid Flame, knew all about the types and operation of flames. Thus, for this fiery bone snake, defeating it was just too easy. With one punch, the wind from his fist suppressed the snake's flames. Without its flames, the snake's strength dropped significantly, and then puncturing its beast pill located in its lower jaw settled the matter. Lacking skin for protection, its flames had been its strongest defense. But once Xiang Beifei disrupted the flames, its beast pill was left as easy prey. Xiang Beifei initially saw 3 large vertebral bones amidst the flames and thought it matched the 3 in Three Souls desolate snake, so he attacked it. Unfortunately, upon closer inspection after defeating it, he found 2 more large vertebral bones, making a total of 5. It didn't seem to be the Three Souls desolate snake. Xiaohe, how many have we collected? Xiang Beifei inquired. Woof, woof, woof. Xiaohe was comfortably lying on Xiang Beifei's shoulder, squinting its eyes with numerous little bubbles floating around. It was leisurely batting these little bubbles around with its tail, like bouncing a ball. Inside each bubble was a snake that had been slaughtered. Roughly counted, there were nearly 30 little bubbles. I wonder if the Three Souls desolate snake is among these. Xiang Beifei and Xiaohe were not very sure. He had just hurried back to the swamp, but still had not seen the Three Souls desolate snake, so he left the swamp again. After wandering around the swamp, they had almost caught all the snakes with 3 characteristics in this area. As they made their way, they seized any snake-type desolate beast that felt like the Three Souls desolate snake. With the experience of catching snakes, he became more and more adept at it. After half a day fighting with various snakes, Xiang Beifei was still bursting with vigor. Speaking of which, Luo Laotu's sunflower seeds were really good. He needed to thank him properly next time. Otherwise, he might not have had the energy to kill so many snakes. Xiaohei collected the skeletal snake too. Xiang Beifei figured he should go back to the swamp to take a look. He had made a big loop looking for snakes and was now coming full circle, close to the swamp, probably a 5-minute walk away. But just then, a series of thunderous roars suddenly erupted in the distance, accompanied by crackling lightning, clattering noisily. Xiang Beifei looked up, puzzled, and peered into the distance, only to see a figure racing towards them like lightning, with a familiar huge snake monster close behind in relentless pursuit. Why is there another triangular snake? Xiang Beifei furrowed his brows, then turned his attention to the two people in front who were desperately fleeing. He hadn't seen these two back in the swamp, and Guohan and Sun Rue, fairly well trained, had concealed themselves far away, out of Xiang Beifei's sight. Although Xiang Beifei could see other system interfaces, if they were too far away or obscured by tree trunks, he wouldn't be able to make them out. Plus, he had barely taken a few steps after appearing before he was chased by the troop of monkeys, oblivious to anyone else being nearby. However, he realized that the little flying ball that had been monitoring him was now following these two. It seemed that since the little flying ball hadn't found him, it had followed them instead. Could it be that these two were sent by Yuqi-shin? Xiang Beifei speculated about the identities of the two in front of him. Guohan was close to despair. In his efforts to escape, he had exhausted every possible method, using up all the tools he had brought for evasion, but he just couldn't shake the triangular thunder right off his trail. He now saw himself as an arrow, stepping on a bough and using its spring to shoot both Sun Rue and himself out at great speed. However, this method took a heavy toll on the crossbow. Guohan's crossbow came from the system, and losing one meant having to buy another, which he was now nearly out of. His only hope was to rush back to the swamp and use the teleportation ball to get out. But his physical strength was nearly sapped and the last of his crossbows had been spent, while the triangular thunderkite showed no signs of weariness and was closing in even more. Crack! The triangular thunderkite once again discharged a bolt of lightning that struck right in front of Guohan, who, in an attempt to dodge the strike, had to twist his body, resulting in a collision against a large tree, and both men fell clumsily to the ground with a thud. It's over. They were only 1 kilometer away from the swamp. Just 1 more kilometer of perseverance and they could make it back to the marshlands to teleport away. But they had run out of tools for escape and were now caught in a desperate situation. Guohan and Sun Rue both showed expressions of sheer desperation. The students at the training ground were also extremely anxious. Everyone knew the dangers of the wilderness beyond the realm, and they were aware that many pioneers lost their lives trying to explore and chart its terrains. Yet seeing 2 classmates, who had been with them day and night, perishing right in front of their eyes, while being helplessly unable to assist, filled everyone's hearts with chilling desolation. They even wondered, if they had been the ones Yuqi the demon sent for this mission, would their fate be any worse? The answer was yes, because at least Guohan and Sun Rue had learned survival knowledge for the outer wilderness for a year, and even scored high in various simulated trainings. They were among the best of this group. Yet, even such individuals, in the face of the triangular thunderkite, had tried everything futilely and were left without any power to fight back, let alone these students who could not even pass the simulated training. Alas, who made them encounter the terrors even to ghosts like triangular thunderkite? This triangular thunderkite is simply too invincible. How could an ordinary chi-controlling late-stage cultivator ever stand a chance against it? Exactly. Do you think that freshman is done for too? Nonsense. If Guohan and Sun Rue ended up like this, what good would it do for that level and freshman to defeat Xiongmeng? He doesn't know a thing about survival knowledge in the outer wilderness. He's probably been eaten by now. Many sighed, watching as the triangular thunderkite slowly closed in on Guohan and Sun Rue, some even averting their eyes, unwilling to witness the scene of their killing. The triangular thunderkite was closing in. Guohan and Sun Rue seemed to have accepted their fate, as Yuqi-shin had made things difficult for new students and left no way out, not even rushing to help. Thinking of this, Guohan and Sun Rue harbored great resentment towards Mr. Yuqi. This task was originally unnecessary, but it was Yuqi-shin who assigned them to it, and after Xiang Beifei disappeared, it was also Yuqi who forced them to search. Guohan and Sun Rue felt extremely frustrated, but their frustration was useless, as they had no strength left to dodge. The eyes of the triangular thunder kite emitted flashes of light, and 2 bolts of lightning struck down thunderously. Whoosh! Just at the critical moment, Guohan and Sun Rue felt something grab their feet, and then a strong force pulled them away from their original spot. Boom! The lightning from the triangular thunder kite shot into empty space. Guohan and Sun Rue were stunned for a moment. Then they saw a figure darting out from beside them, charging towards the triangular thunder kite. It was that N-level freshman. Guohan and Sun Rue immediately recognized Xiang Beifei. Not just them, but even the elite students at the training ground spotted Xiang Beifei. How did this guy appear here? But was this freshman seeking death? He actually charged towards the triangular thunder kite? That was the triangular thunder kite, one of the strongest desolate beasts in the area, nearly invincible among those at the chi-controlling stage. Was the N-level freshman planning to use himself to draw the triangular thunder kite away, creating a chance for Guohan and Sun Rue to escape? Seeing another reckless human charging at it, the triangular thunder kite became furiously agitated as if it smelled something and went into a rage. Xiang Beifei seemed to carry the scent of its kin. The triangular thunder kite, enraged beyond measure, didn't hesitate. Its eyes flashed, and it fired 2 deadly bolts of lightning at Xiang Beifei, who had leaped into the air. The lightning was terrifying, even more powerful than the previous attack, carrying suppressed rage and a fierce intent to kill as it struck fiercely. The lightning made many students feel anxious, but Xiang Beifei seemed to have anticipated all this. He seemed to know exactly from what angle the lightning would come. His body slightly tilted in midair, and the lightning barely missed his forehead. Though it was very close, it didn't hit him, and suddenly, a strange dagger appeared in his hand, which quickly transformed into a fork, the prongs of which matched exactly the distance between the eyes of the triangular thunder kite. Thrust. Xiang Beifei flipped over, precisely stabbing the fork into the eyes of the triangular thunder kite. Whoosh! He somersaulted in the air, smoothly crossing over the head of the triangular thunder kite, drawing an arc in the air, bending at the waist to land on the ground, one hand touching the grass to cushion the force. Then he slowly stood up straight. The triangular thunder kite, right behind Xiang Beifei, stood motionless for a moment. Then, boom! The massive serpentine body crashed down, striking the ground with a huge noise, even shaking the ground slightly. Instant kill. The air once again fell silent. Everyone was stunned, looking at the figure of Xiang Beifei, his silhouette graceful and striking, leaving everyone in awe. This N-level freshman had actually killed a triangular thunder kite? The entire process was smooth and decisive, without any hesitation. A fatal blow. The triangular thunder kite, which had once chased the elite students Guohan and Sun Rue to despair, managed only to fire a single lightning bolt in the face of Xiang Beifei, which neatly missed, and then it was blinded. Is this really an N-level freshman? All students were shocked as they watched Xiang Beifei. Even Guohan and Sun Rue took a long time to recover. They thought they were surely doomed, only to have walked back from death's door, pulled back by the same freshman they were supposed to protect. Did they still need their protection? Yuqi was also taken aback. Even he hadn't expected such a turn of events. Originally, he intended to give Xiang Beifei a lesson by throwing him directly into the external wilderness, to scare him and discipline him properly. But he hadn't anticipated that Xiang Beifei would not be frightened at all. Instead, he killed one of the most difficult triangular thunder kites right in front of him. The training field was quiet. Only the rustling of leaves stirred by the wind could be heard. Xiang Beifei was unaware of the reactions of others at the training ground. He could only see Guohan and Sun Rue. Having killed a triangular snake once before, he had gained significant understanding. How the triangular thunder kite would attack, which position it would attack from, when it would release lightning, from which angle it would come. He knew it all by heart, so killing it again was not difficult. casually ordering Xiaohei to collect the triangular snake. He then walked towards Guohan and Sun Rue. You two were sent by Yuqishan? Xiang Beifei looked at them puzzled. Guohan nodded subconsciously. We were sent by Mr. Yuqi to protect you. As he finished speaking, his face suddenly turned red. Your next chapter awaits on MVL. Who was protecting whom, after all? They had been chased in a disheveled retreat by a triangular thunderkite, nearly losing their lives, only for their supposed protege to suddenly appear and kill the triangular thunderkite with a single strike. How could they still claim they were here to protect others? Sun Rue was also visibly shaken. He simply couldn't understand why Xiang Beifei could kill a triangular thunderkite so easily, knowing that he himself had been badly injured by it in less than 5 minutes of confrontation. But it took Xiang Beifei just one encounter to kill the beast instantly. The disparity in strength was just too vast. And they were supposed to be well-trained students. Oh, I see. Xiang Beifei nodded thoughtfully, considering that these two hadn't caused him any trouble, then added, Okay, I don't know how to heal wounds, so I'd better take you back. They were only a mere kilometer away from the swamp, so it was close. Guohan and Sun Rue quickly came to their senses and struggled to get up, which was exhausting since they had almost depleted their strength. Supporting each other, Guohan said with gratitude, Thank you for saving our lives. It's nothing. Xiang Beifei led them casually towards the swamp. Guohan and Sun Rue could not help but steal glances at Xiang Beifei, puzzled as to how someone so powerful had been unable to defeat a group of claw-tailed monkeys earlier. They soon remembered that if it hadn't been for the venom of the iron flying hawk they brought along, they probably would not have been able to overcome the claw-tailed monkeys. Xiang Beifei was a high school student who had been thrown into this place at the last minute by Elder Yuqi. He was unprepared with nothing but his own system, but during his escape from the claw-tailed monkeys, he also killed several with a single punch. This freshman could very likely have suffered due to a lack of understanding of the situation. If there hadn't been so many, he perhaps wouldn't have needed to flee at all. After all, the triangular thunderkite is much more terrifying than a group of claw-tailed monkeys. Experience exclusive tales on MVL. At that moment, a loud roar suddenly came from a distance. Xiang Beifei! Xiang Beifei! Where are you? The voice of Luo Lao-Tu was earth-shattering. His terrifying sonic waves rolled in like tides, causing a painful ringing in the ears. Elder Luo. Doing this will attract all the desolate beasts. Yi Changfeng caught up with Luo Lao-Tu. Nonsense. If I don't attract all the desolate beasts in this area to me, they'll go after that kid. Luo Lao-Tu continued to shout urgently, bellowing out like a megaphone, his voice carrying for miles as he called out Xiang Beifei's name. Soon, Luo Lao-Tu's figure appeared in the distance, rushing toward the swamp, and then he saw Xiang Beifei. Ah, you're still alive! Luo Lao-Tu exclaimed with joy, running over and landing beside Xiang Beifei, quickly checking him over and asking, You all right? No harm done? Arms all there? I'm so sorry. It took me over an hour to get here. Oh, I'm fine, but they're not. Xiang Beifei pointed at Guohan and Sun Rue. Let's go. Forget about that for now. The desolate beasts might have been attracted by my shouting. Let's get back. We can't let anything else happen to you. Right? What does a 3-souls desolate snake look like? Never mind it, if we can't catch it, we can't catch it, let's go back. Luo Lao-Tu signaled to Yi Changfeng, who lifted up the two of them and then entered the swamp. At this time, the transport spheres were functional, and Yi Changfeng crushed a transport sphere, creating a vortex that swept all 5 of them up and sent them back to the training ground. When Xiang Beifei and the others appeared back at the training ground, all the elite students were buzzing with excitement. They had witnessed with their own eyes Xiang Beifei killing the triangular thunderkite in one strike, a move which gained the full respect of these elite students. Students of the elite school only believe in strength. As long as one has the strength that compels their respect, they will revere that person, regardless of whether or not they are an N-level fighter. What mattered was the scene of the new student killing the triangular thunderkite with a single strike, leaving a profound impression on everyone. Among those present, Apart from the teachers, not one dared claim they had the ability to kill such a fearsome triangular thunderkrite. Medical students soon came over to carry Guohan and Sun Rue aside for treatment, as they were nearly exhausted and seriously injured. Yu Qi-shen, you almost got the new student killed. Come, let's have a chat about life. Luo Laotu had been in a rush to save Xiang Beifei and hadn't even had time to scold Yu Qi-shen. Now, remembering, he was filled with anger. Just as Luo Laotu was about to rebuke the bastard, Yi Changfeng seemed to find something, pulling him aside and saying in surprise, "Elder Luo, take a look at this." A three-dimensional hologram shot out from his wristwatch, clearly showing the scene of Xiang Beifei's recent killing of the triangular thunderkrite. This? Luo Laotu glanced at it and was also shocked. Even the scolding of Yu Qi-shen was forgotten. The exquisite strike by Xiang Beifei had truly dazzled him, dodging a lightning bolt before it was fired, flipping, and backhand thrusting. The triangular thunderkrite, dead. His move was flawless. Only someone who understood the triangular thunderkrite's movements incredibly well could pull off such a perfect kill. He was just an 18-year-old high school student. How could he possess such prodigious judgment and reflexes? The speed and agility of that triangular thunderkrite were on par with Xiang Beifei's, but in their clash, it ended up exposed with countless flaws, its attacks all anticipated by Xiang Beifei. That was truly terrifying. Knocking down Xiong Meng with a single punch hadn't surprised Luo Laotu this much because Xiong Meng, at best, was just stepping into the late stage of chi controlling as an S-level freshman. He hadn't passed the extramural Desolate Realm simulation test and wouldn't have been able to fight a desolate beast. But to have killed a triangular thunderkrite in the late chi controlling stage with one strike, that's enough to make it into the Liangzhou University freshman records. Yu Qi-shen watched Xiang Beifei with a cold gaze. Xiang Beifei seemed to be fine, as if he had let out a sigh of relief, but that perfect strike of Xiang Beifei's had twisted Yu Qi-shen's face with envy, because it reminded him of someone he once knew very well, a genius among geniuses who always surpassed him. Xiang Tianxing. Back then, that guy's talent was almost perfect too, making him, who was also an SR-level talent, seem dull in comparison. He had originally thought that with Xiang Tianxing's son coming to Liangzhou University, he would properly teach him a lesson, making Xiang Beifei embarrass himself in front of everyone. But he never expected it to backfire completely. The way Xiang Beifei killed the triangular thunderkrite was something even he couldn't pick a flaw in. Too perfect. Even Yu Qi-shen, who was in the late stage of chi controlling, would not have been able to execute such a flawless kill. With this thought, Yu Qi-shen's mood darkened even further. Everyone was in awe. They knew the assessment was basically over now, and Xiang Beifei's admission was inevitable. He not only proved himself with his fists but also accomplished a feat that none of the new students could. Xiang Beifei looked around puzzled. From being mocked by everyone just a moment ago to now being looked at with admiration, he couldn't quite grasp what was happening. All he did was kill a big three-horned snake in front of them. Was that really so surprising? To him, it seemed as though they had never seen the world before. He thought he was the one who had never seen the world, considering he still didn't know the name of the big snake. Yi Changfeng turned to stare at Yu Qi-shen and said, "Yu Qi-shen, Xiang Beifei has already passed the assessment. Aren't you going to announce the results?" Yu Qi-shen looked at Xiang Beifei, and then a thin smirk formed on his lips. "Failed," he said with a sneer. Yu Qi-shen's voice wasn't loud, but it clearly reached everyone's ears. All those present quieted down and looked at Yu Qi-shen in confusion. The old devil Yu Qi actually declared Xiang Beifei's entrance examination a failure. What was this old devil doing? Today's assessment, throwing freshmen into the wilderness beyond the domain, was already unreasonable and nearly cost the lives of Guohan and Sun Rue. All the trouble was caused by him alone, and just when Xiang Beifei had managed to kill a triangular thunderkrite in front of everyone and save Guohan and Sun Rue, the old devil Yu Qi is now declaring Xiang Beifei a failure. Yi Changfeng shouted, "Yu Qi-shen, don't go too far. Damn it. Yu Qi-shen, want me to give you another teacher qualification exam? Do you dare to lie with your eyes open?" Luo Laotu said furiously, rolling up his sleeves. Though Yuchi-shin inwardly feared Elder Luo, he still said word by word, "This is the assessment I'm responsible for. My task was to have him kill a 3-souls desolate snake. Did you get kicked by a donkey? How can a weak species like the 3-souls desolate snake compare to the triangular thunderkite? He just killed a triangular thunderkite." Elder Luo was not one to care about saving face, and he spoke his mind without courtesy. Even those elite students who had never been to the wilderness beyond the domain knew that a triangular thunderkite possessed late-stage chi-controlling strength, while a 3-souls desolate snake was only at the mid-stage of chi-controlling. The two simply could not be compared. Killing a triangular thunderkite was far more difficult than killing a 3-souls desolate snake. Xiang Beifei had already exceeded the task in front of everyone. Yet Yuchi-shun was still so shameless to nitpick. Was he that desperate to make things difficult for this N-level newcomer? It doesn't matter what he killed. All I know is the requirements of my assessment tasks, which stated he had to kill a 3-souls desolate snake. Yuchi-shun said aggressively, "On a mission in the wilderness beyond the domain, the first rule is to understand exactly what the task is. I told him to kill a 3-souls desolate snake, and he has to kill a 3-souls desolate snake to pass the assessment. Killing anything else doesn't count as completing the task." Yuchi-shun swept his gaze over the elite students who wanted to speak out for Xiang Beifei and coldly shouted, "You are all martial arts students, and in the future, you'll be carrying out tasks. Remember this. If in the future you are tasked with rescuing a specific person in the outer desolate lands, and you dare to just pick any random child off the big road and try to pass that off as completing the task, come and see what's going to happen." Many people felt that Yuchi-shin was being extremely unreasonable, as the two situations weren't comparable at all. The entire assessment had been unfair to Xiang Beifei from the start. He was thrown into the outer desolate lands without any tools to deal with desolate beasts, wasn't told how to return, and nearly got Guohan and Sun Rue killed. Yuchi-shin wouldn't even acknowledge his mistake. And now he was actually giving Xiang Beifei a hard time. They had seen shameless people before, but never someone this utterly shameless. But when they wanted to refute Yuchi-shin, they found they didn't have any excuses to do so, because the assessment was managed by Yuchi-shin. It was a real task, and whether it was completed was for Yuchi-shin to decide. In some sense, Xiang Beifei indeed hadn't killed the weaker 3-souls desolate snake, so he hadn't completed the task set by Yuchi-shin. Yuchi-shin smirked at Xiang Beifei, knowing that Xiang Beifei would definitely be admitted, but he still felt very satisfied because he held a moral ground. He could still tell everyone that Xiang Beifei had failed in his task. Xiang Beifei's admission was due to someone else's favor. "Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson about life. If you're given a task, do it properly, and don't mess with any unnecessary things. I'm here to see how you complete the task, not to watch you show off. What does it matter if your talent is exceptional? Without completing the task I assigned, you're not fit to attend Liangzhou University in my eyes." Yuchi-shin's voice was filled with mockery. Many people looked at Yuchi-shin angrily. If Yuchi-shin's reputation hadn't been so fearsome, many would probably have cursed him out loud. "All right, come here, and I'll teach you how to complete a task." Elder Luo had already rolled up his sleeves, ready to strike. Xiang Beifei seemed thoughtful as he looked at Yuchi-shin, then nodded, "You're right." Everyone was startled. They hadn't expected Xiang Beifei to submit to Yuchi-shin at this moment. The feats he accomplished were far more impressive than the task Yuchi-shin had assigned. Xiang Beifei continued, "This was my first time in the outer desolate lands. I didn't study a bestiary of desolate beasts in high school, so indeed, I don't know what a 3-souls desolate snake looks like." Instead of mocking him, everyone felt it was only natural. Because it was true. Xiang Beifei was just a high school student and hadn't taken a single college-level class. It was understandable that he didn't know about desolate beasts. When every elite student present entered Liangzhou University, they also knew almost nothing about desolate beasts. Yuchi-shin sneered, "Since you didn't pass my assessment." But Xiang Beifei interrupted him, saying, "Indeed, I don't know what the 3-souls desolate snake looks like, so I killed a whole bunch of snakes that seemed to have something to do with the word 3. Better safe than sorry." He snapped his fingers, and Xiaohei flicked its tail at a little bubble, which immediately floated up, and then, pop! The bubble burst open. A triangular thunder kite snake fell out of the bubble and suddenly grew in size. This was the triangular thunder kite he had just killed. A few whispers of admiration drifted through the crowd. Pop! Another triangular thunder kite fell out. 2 triangular thunder kites? He killed 2 triangular thunder kites. This completely unsettled everyone. They were shocked enough that he had killed 1 triangular thunder kite, but now they learned that Xiang Beifei had somehow killed another. Triangular thunder kites usually appear in pairs, so he killed them all? This newcomer had actually killed 2 of the most ferocious triangular thunder kites. Pop! Another skeleton of a snake fell out from the bubble. This snake skeleton was enormous, roughly the same size as the triangular thunder kite. That's a fire snake from the later stage of chi controlling. Oh my goodness, the archenemy of the triangular thunder kite, the fire snake. Did he kill it too? Everyone was stunned once again. The fire snake and the triangular thunder kite were the 2 most powerful snake-type desolate beasts in that region. And they were both butchered by Xiang Beifei. What kind of monster was he? Pop! 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 Several more bubbles burst open, and a multitude of snakes fell out. The mid-stage chi-controlling 3 Souls Desolate Snake, the mid-stage chi-controlling Strange-Footed Earth Snake, the later-stage chi-controlling Moroa Multitail Snake, the later-stage chi-controlling 3-Eyed Python Kirin, the mid-stage chi-controlling Wildflower-Marked Pit Viper. The training ground suddenly was covered in the corpses of snake-type desolate beasts, and counting them up, there were nearly 30. Everyone stared dumbfounded at the snake corpses scattered on the ground, too shocked by Xiang Beifei's display to speak for a long while. This guy must be the bane of snake monsters, right? Wasn't the snake region supposedly terrors even to ghosts? How did Xiang Beifei manage to kill so many all by himself? He's the one who should be known as Snake Worries in that region. Even Elder Luo and Yi Changfeng were shocked. Elder Luo's mouth was wide open, genuinely startled. Even with their high cultivation levels, they hadn't expected all of this to happen. This kid, not knowing what the 3 Souls Desolate Snake was, simply went and killed a bunch of snake-type desolate beasts to complete the task. They had never heard of anyone completing a task like this. Yu Qixin's grim face had also frozen. He had only intended to deliberately make things difficult for Xiang Beifei, but Xiang Beifei's actions had completely exceeded his expectations. Xiang Beifei counted the snakes on the ground with earnest, and then asked sincerely, "Can someone help me confirm what the 3 Souls Desolate Snake looks like? I killed those with 3 characteristics, but I don't know if I killed the 3 Souls Desolate Snake. If not, I'll go look for it again." His tone was sincere, and he was eagerly seeking knowledge. Everyone was stunned once again. Luo Laotu was the first to regain his composure. He seemed even more excited than Xiang Beifei, scanning through the snakes before picking out a large one with 3 heads, all of which had been smashed. He laughed uproariously. "Ha ha ha! This is the 3 Souls Desolate Snake, the one with 3 heads, ha ha ha! Yuchi, you little bastard. Here's your 3 Souls Desolate Snake, delivered to you." Luo Laotu eagerly hurled the 3 Souls Desolate Snake toward Yu Qixin. Yu Qixin caught the 3 Souls Desolate Snake subconsciously, staring at it. As its name suggests, the 3 Souls Desolate Snake had 3 heads. Chopping off one wouldn't do much harm, as the remaining 2 could still fight fiercely. Only beheading all 3 could kill it for good, hence its name, 3 Souls Desolate Snake. But the one in front of them had each of its heads smashed by a single punch from Xiang Beifei. It hadn't suffered much before death and had died peacefully. He actually completed the task? He actually completed the task. Yu Qixin's face turned ashen, as if he could wring water from it. He had made things as difficult as possible for the guy, not giving him any preparation and sending him to face a mid-stage chi-controlling 3 Souls Desolate Snake. Even though Xiang Beifei had killed the more powerful triangular thunder kite, he had hoped to use the excuse of not killing the 3 Souls Desolate Snake to fail Xiang Beifei. But no matter how hard he racked his brains, he had not expected that Xiang Beifei had actually killed a 3 Souls Desolate Snake unintentionally. He simply didn't know the academic name of the snake. He had tried every trick in the book, and yet his victim had completed the task almost perfectly, making his face crack audibly with the slap. "Oh, this one. I thought it looked about right when I encountered it. I had to kill it 3 times because it was kind of weak," Xiang Beifei muttered. Everyone was so shocked by his words that they were rendered speechless. He actually thought the 3 Souls Desolate Snake was too weak? Well, the 3 Souls Desolate Snake only had the strength of a mid-stage chi-controlling creature. But Xiang Beifei had killed a triangular thunderkite in 1 blow. And not just 1, but 2. No matter how many tricks you play, I handle them with ease. What does it mean to be a genius? This is what it means to be a genius. I should have passed the assessment, right? Xiang Beifei asked Yuqishin earnestly. Yuqishin stared fiercely at Xiang Beifei, as if he couldn't wait to grab him and take a few bites. How he hated this. How could he respond? By saying yes. Wouldn't he just be diminishing the assertive tone he had maintained just before? But if he didn't respond, what would his previous statement become? A joke? Since you're not speaking, I'll take that as you conceding that I've passed, Xiang Beifei declared. Xiang Beifei had Xiaohei rewrap all the remaining snakes in tiny bubbles. Nobody could see Xiaohei. All they saw was all the snakes being wrapped in bubbles, shrinking, and then vanishing. But nobody thought too much about it because everyone had systems and storage items within systems were common. They just assumed that it was Xiang Beifei's system that had taken the snakes away. Let's go, let's go. Wahahaha. I'm so happy today. To think I found such a treasure. Ha ha ha. Luo Lao Tu hummed a tune, seemingly more excited than Xiang Beifei. Enrolled? Enrolled? What's there to ask? I'll take you to handle the admission procedures and get you a retroactive admission notice. He then turned his head and glared at Yuqishin. Your unapproved setting of the Wilderness Realm assessment almost killed 3 students, and you're suspected of abusing authority for personal vendettas. Write me a self-criticism of 100,000 words first. As for other punishments, we will discuss them later. Thankfully, no one was harmed. You should be thanking him. Today, Yuqishin's actions had crossed the line. If Guohan, Sun Rue, or Xiang Beifei had died, Yuqishin would certainly have been held accountable and even dismissed by the university. It was no laughing matter, as every student at the elite school was the future of the Jojo Alliance, and their lives were not to be trifled with. No need to thank me. Here, you can have this back, Xiang Beifei said as he tossed the iron hoop to Yuqishin. The iron hoop returned to being a sphere as soon as it left his hand, hovering in midair. After a moment's thought, he added to Yuqishin, "Oh, right, the next time you want to put me through another dangerous assessment, it would be best to send a couple of people who are a bit more capable to protect me. Otherwise, I have to take care of the guards you send, which is also quite troublesome." Audacious. Incredibly audacious. All the students held their breath, staring at Xiang Beifei in amazement. It was clear what Xiang Beifei was implying. He was telling Yuqishin in no uncertain terms. The people you've trained are too weak. You send them to protect others, yet they end up needing protection themselves. What exactly do you do with your students in training? It was a direct challenge to Yuqishin's notorious training methods. All the elite students greatly admired Xiang Beifei's courage. He was like a young calf not afraid of tigers, daring to speak to Yuqi, the old devil, in such a way. Knowing that Xiang Beifei was now a part of Liangzhou University, he would inevitably have to attend training classes by Elder Yuqi. The old devil had a myriad of terrifying methods to train students, many of whom were left with scars. And now, with what Xiang Beifei had said, he would likely have a worse time than others in the future. But Xiang Beifei seemed not to care at all. Although his strength had already become freakish, everyone still sweated for him. Who knew whether Yuqishin would intensify his schemes against him in the future? However, thinking of the recent entrance assessment, others realized that Xiang Beifei, before even enrolling, was already much more formidable than anyone present. Perhaps Yuqishin's abnormal training would only make him stronger. Yuqishin's methods might be abnormal, but one had to admit, the graduates from Liangzhou University were exceedingly competent in every aspect. If one could withstand even the devilish training of Yuqishin, then encountering students from other schools wouldn't put them at a disadvantage. True powerhouses aren't afraid of any abnormal training. The feud between the two was definitely set in stone. Wow, ha ha ha. Perfect. Just perfect. I love that attitude. Let's go. Off to eat sunflower seeds. Luo Laotu walked ahead with his hands behind his back, striding valiantly and triumphantly, clearly delighted. Yuchi-shin's face was grave. The entrance assessment had encountered some unexpected events, and he knew he'd be facing severe punishment, but he was still extremely resentful. Xiang Beifei had dared to confront him so boldly, it just infuriated him. And yet, he had no comeback to Xiang's defiance. Yi Changfeng glanced at Yuchi-shin and smiled. It was the first time he'd seen Yuchi-shin so deflated. Yuchi-shin was an SR-level expert, powerful and formidable. A devil in the student's eyes, known for cultivating elites with iron-fisted methods and his gloomy personality, it was rare to find him at a loss. The most frequent instances Yuchi-shin had been put to shame were during his own student days. Back then, there was a genius even more formidable than him, one he detested bitterly. This genius was named Xiang Tianxing. It was unexpected that Yuchi-shin, now a teacher, had again been choked into silence today, and the person who choked him was also a genius. This genius was named Xiang Beifei. Like father, like son indeed. Yi Changfeng was quite happy to see Yuchi-shin looking so abashed. Although his usual expression was sour, the two circumstances were absolutely not the same. Stay connected through MVL. Just now, Yi Changfeng was worried sick about the boy Xiang Beifei, but now he found the situation incredibly satisfying and even felt a bit like laughing. Senior, thank you. Your sunflower seeds are very effective, Xiang Beifei said earnestly. He was still full of energy. Those sunflower seeds had greatly replenished his strength, feeling like he could go slaughter a desolate beast all over again. Just a small gesture, Elder Luo laughed, waved his hand, and then handed Xiang Beifei a handful of black sunflower seeds, adding, "You actually noticed? Impressive. I just feel like I have endless energy, and everything I ate today was ordinary food, except for the sunflower seeds you gave me," Xiang Beifei explained. Not many people get the chance to eat sunflower seeds with Elder Luo, and not everyone can handle his seeds, Yi Changfeng remarked on the side. Oh, is that so? Xiang Beifei pondered. He really didn't know there was something special about the sunflower seeds. For an Elder Luo's leisure system, they were just plain sunflower seeds, albeit a bit pricey at 200 leisure value per pack. But beyond that, there were no other descriptions. Speaking of which, as satisfying as it was to confront Yuchi-shin today, your future days won't be easy. From a long-term perspective, I think you should still be polite to him, Yi Changfeng advised. Xiang Beifei earnestly asked, if I'm polite to him, then he'll treat me better in the future? Yi Changfeng paused. Well, that won't happen. Then why should I be polite to him? Xiang Beifei countered. Yuchi-shin was definitely going to make life difficult for him. Whether he was polite or not, the other party would torment him to the death, so might as well just go head-to-head. The SR system's rewards glinted enticingly. Let's see who ends up worse off in the end. Yi Changfeng was also momentarily left speechless by Xiang Beifei's retort. You really know how to talk back, don't you? Yi Changfeng, caught between laughter and tears, had been retorted several times himself, and now sighed somewhat helplessly. It seems you still don't trust me, do you? Xiang Beifei turned his head, sizing up Yi Changfeng, and after a moment, said, Not necessarily. Oh, Yi Changfeng was somewhat surprised. Xiang Beifei shrugged his shoulders and said, At least Mr. Yi went to that place to find me. Normally, he would interact politely with a senior who treated him well, treating himself as a junior with a modest attitude. But if someone looked for trouble, he was less accommodating. Yi Changfeng paused, then laughed and said, You and he are very alike. Xiang Beifei just spread his hands. Yi Changfeng pondered for a moment and then asked, I find it hard to believe. Are you really an N-level awakener? Xiang Beifei stroked his chin, but Elder Luo, on the side, glared at Yi Changfeng and said irritably, Enough already. What are you probing for? Trying to steal him from me? Yi Changfeng smiled and shook his head. I wouldn't dare. Then get moving and bring him his enrollment letter. What are you following us for? Also, handle the content of today's entrance assessment so it doesn't get leaked, Elder Luo demanded. Yi Changfeng, not daring to provoke the old man, could only respond, All right, I know what to do. He glanced once more at Xiang Beifei before turning to leave. Don't tell him. Just let him be in suspense. Elder Luo snickered as he cracked sunflower seeds. Find your next read on MVL. Xiang Beifei watched Elder Luo with a mix of amusement and exasperation. He thought Elder Luo would turn to ask him about the matter himself, but he seemed to have no intention of doing so. Elder Luo took Xiang Beifei to an artificial lake inside Liangzhou University, sat in a pavilion by the lake, and then, looking at the sparkling surface, leisurely counted several black ducks in the lake. You counted 9 black ducks, leisure value +9. This SR leisure system is really bizarre. Even counting ducks makes you stronger. Xiang Beifei couldn't help muttering. I had Changfeng save today's assessment video in your personal file. It won't be leaked, trying to keep you as low-key as possible. But after today, surely many will suspect whether you truly are an N level, as your displayed abilities don't seem typical of N levels. Understand this, Elder Luo said. The entrance assessment allowed students to observe live to learn, but recording videos wasn't allowed as this was confidential to the school. Each student's ability file had to be protected from being leaked, otherwise, when facing students from other elite schools, they would be at a disadvantage. There's competition between elite schools as well. They also weren't worried about students clandestinely filming. The system's world had various powerful methods to plug leaks, with UR-level anti-leak capabilities effectively suppressing any attempts by S-level and R-level students present. Thus, only those students who were present would see Xiang Beifei's performance today. Others who weren't there wouldn't, their only source being second-hand information from those who were present. But student gossip was trivial after all. Aren't you curious? Curious, but not necessarily eager to know. Actually, you shouldn't worry too much about people knowing your talent level. The last thing Liangzhou University lacks is geniuses, especially this year. Elder Luo thought for a moment, then mysteriously said, This year, Liangzhou University recruited 5,000 new students from high schools across Zhuzhou. Among them, 14 are scholarship students at SR level. Once school starts, the attention they attract will certainly be greater than yours. 14 SR freshmen. There were roughly over 5 million high school seniors across the Zhuzhou Union taking the entrance exams, with SR-level students being exceptionally rare and directly admitted without exams. Xiang Beifei's own school, Luhe High School, didn't have a single one. Liangzhou University recruited 14 SR-level freshmen from across Zhuzhou. These teachers personally visiting the homes of these SR-level freshmen, competing with 8 other elite universities for these candidates. 9 elite universities each managed to recruit a similar number of SR-level students this year, with roughly 100 or so SR-level awakeners discovered among over 5 million high school seniors across the Zhuzhou Union. An average of 50,000 awakeners produced 1 SR-level talent. As an elite school, Liangzhou University had the most R-level awakeners. S-level awakeners were very common, and nearly 5 out of every 10 students encountered were of S-level. But SR-level, they were truly the shining new stars. These were the real elite of the elites. From their admission to their graduation, they were the most noticed individuals in Liangzhou University, with many either envious or admiring as they sought to learn more about them, their presence surely overshadowing that of an N-level candidate like Xiang Beifei. This indeed made things easier, as Xiang Beifei had already proven his eligibility with his abilities. No need for others to block his way anymore. Xiang Beifei then asked, So how many SSR-level individuals awakened in the Zhuzhou Union this year? Elder Luo pondered for a moment and said, According to the Education Bureau of the Zhuzhou Union, there were a total of 11 SSR-level awakeners across the entire Zhuzhou Union this year. 11 SSR-level awakeners. That was a 1 in 50,000 awakening probability. SSR was an even more terrifying level. Their systems were exceptionally favored, making every task they undertook incredibly simple. possibly even simpler than the SR leisure system, but their potential was even greater. And what about UR? Xiang Beifei inquired further. UR is already the ultimate level of the system talents. It's said that those who awaken at this level, upon awakening, are already in the later stages of qi controlling. 2. In other states, Luo Laotu said. In the entire Zhuzhou Alliance of the over 5 million awakeners this year, only 2 reached the UR level. 1 in 2.5 million, the odds are so low as to be infuriating. As for the potential of a UR, there's no need to introduce it. In the future, they are the true elites among humans. Saying that they are the true pinnacle and perfection of human genes is not an exaggeration. So how many SSR and UR level students did Liangzhou University manage to snatch? Xiang Beifei asked. Such awakeners are certainly coveted by the 9 elite universities, and the president of Liangzhou University might personally step in to negotiate, offering a variety of tempting scholarships and other favorable educational policies to get them to attend their school. Having an outstanding alumnus can bring great benefits to a school, something Xiang Beifei is all too clear about. Just look at Luhe High School's principal, Li Nanxing. Forget about UR, one is in Qingzhou, the other in Yenzhou. With the advantage of proximity, they were snatched up by Qingzhou University and Yenzhou University as soon as they awakened. Those 2 schools are sly, too quick. We can only compete for those 11 SSRs. Let's see how many we can get. The negotiations are still ongoing, and we should hear some news in a few days, Luo Laotu explained. After he finished speaking, he turned his head, his deep blue eyes shimmering with a strange light as he sized up Xiang Beifei. Why are you looking at me? Xiang Beifei absent-mindedly cracked sunflower seeds and asked. With a chuckle, Luo Laotu said, the other 8 universities don't recruit N-level, but they didn't expect you to be so powerful. Missing out on you, they've lost big. We've hit the jackpot. He appeared quite proud, like a keen horse scout having found a thoroughbred. Enjoy exclusive chapters from MVL. I'm not an SSR awakener, so what's there for them to lose? Xiang Beifei said indifferently. He wasn't too concerned about other system levels. What mattered to him were the rewards from other systems. SSR, or even UR, they were all the same in his eyes. They could all bring him rewards, and he wasn't picky. He'd accept all comers, regardless of their capabilities, as long as they dared to provoke him. I think your potential might be on par with SR, or even more impressive. Managing to get someone like you is very valuable in my opinion. After all, like father, like son, haha, your father, Xiang Tianxing. Even though he was only SR, he cut down SSR awakeners when he got serious. Luo Laotu said excitedly. It seems you know my father quite well? Xiang Beifei asked. He was my student. How could I not know his capabilities? Luo Laotu said with a pleased air. Ha! Xiang Beifei looked at Luo Laotu, somewhat surprised. You were also my father's teacher? Ha ha! You get it now. That's why, before the other teachers at the school could make a move, I snatched you first, to avoid their meddling, ha ha ha! Luo Laotu laughed triumphantly. Confused, Xiang Beifei asked, make a move on me? What does that mean? Taking one's own students under one's wing. Although each teacher will lecture to all students and educational opportunities are fair, a mentor will also take some exceptional students under their wing, teach them exclusively to undertake some research or help them complete system tasks. Running errands for us mentors and such, explained Luo Laotu cheerfully. So what system tasks do you need me to help you with? Xiang Beifei scrutinized Luo Laotu's leisure system, thinking that the tasks related to him could only be a few. You have completed the task of probing into Xiang Beifei's gossip. Leisure value plus 50. You have completed today's chat task. Leisure value plus 50. You have completed today's stroll task. Leisure value plus 50. You have made a fruitless trip to the cultivated domain, but you don't mind. Leisure value plus 50. You are in a very good mood today. Leisure value plus 100. You have snatched a precious student. Leisure value plus 200. This system task is so laid back. Even a wasted trip to the wilderness beyond the domain can make you stronger. feeling like it makes no difference whether you have it or not. Today's good mood is probably because of Xiang Beifei's performance, but besides that, the daily tasks that Elder Luo sets are such that anyone could complete them for him. Ha ha ha! I've completed a lot of tasks thanks to you today. Do you want to know what they are? Before Xiang Beifei could even speak, Elder Luo proudly said, I won't tell you, just to torture you. Xiang Beifei. Fine then. I'll just pretend I didn't see anything. Above, white clouds drifted leisurely, and on the lake's surface, the light shimmered. It's still summer vacation, so there aren't many people passing through the campus. Elder Luo took out a piece of bread from who knows where. Leaning on the pavilion's railing, he was scattering bread crumbs into the water. Many large carp were gathered below, scrambling for them. You have fed the fish today. Leisure value +10. Xiang Beifei pondered for a moment and asked, Do you know about my father's situation, Elder? Don't call me Elder, it sounds strange. You can call me Elder Luo or Professor Luo. After saying this, Elder Luo pondered for a moment before speaking. Xiang Tianqing didn't stay at the university after he graduated. He went to work for the pioneering department of the Zhuzhou Alliance, but what specific tasks he was carrying out, I'm not very clear. The pioneers are a profession of the Zhuzhou Alliance. They say your father had an accident, but I don't think so. Oh! Xiang Beifei looked at Elder Luo with surprise. Why? Intuition. Elder Luo's eyes flickered with some strange luminescence, and suddenly, the aura around him turned deep and powerful, much like the unfathomable sea, stirring an indescribable trepidation in people. Xiang Beifei saw that the data points on his system interface had suddenly begun to jump again. The intuition column went from 123 all the way up to 12,345, and then the system interface in Xiang Beifei's eyes changed to Host, Luo Yunxian, SR, Leisure System, Realm. About 10 seconds later, Elder Luo's aura calmed down again, and the Realm column on the system interface changed to Realm, Mid-Meridian Opening. He stared at Xiang Beifei. Then the value for intuition dropped to 732. So, is Elder Luo's intuition usually accurate? Xiang Beifei asked. Intuition is an immediate perception that comes without logical analysis and reasoning, which means it can't always be 100% right. In other words, even if Elder Luo feels that Xiang Tianqing is still alive, he doesn't have concrete evidence. Well, it depends on the situation. Elder Luo threw the rest of the breadcrumbs into the lake, then laughed and said, The first time I saw you, I felt that you couldn't be a normal N-level student, but you turned out to be more surprising than I expected. My first intuition about you wasn't simple. And indeed, facts have proven that you really are extraordinary, aren't you? Xiang Beifei smiled, his mind still pondering over his father's matter. Seeing that Xiang Beifei didn't respond, Elder Luo continued, I tried to find him once, but after a lot of effort, I couldn't succeed. He went to a very dangerous area outside the domain to carry out a certain task. I won't tell you where it is, lest you rush over there on a whim. That place, compared to where you went today, is a different concept altogether. However, Xiang Beifei had already figured it out from Kong Daming's system logs. Don't worry, Elder Luo. I have a plan in mind, and I won't act recklessly, Xiang Beifei said. He would definitely not go wandering into that kind of place before he had the strength. That's good. Living your life with ease is the way to go. Don't overthink things. What's meant to happen will happen naturally. Elder Luo stretched lazily and looked at Xiang Beifei, then said, Your martial arts talent is tremendous, with strength and reflexes, as well as control over spiritual power, that are 1 in 10,000. But your combat style is too straightforward. Relying on brute force is simple and brutal, but sometimes it puts you at a disadvantage. Today, you were just taking an assessment in the cultivated domain, a relatively low-risk area. The capabilities of the desolate beasts here are weak. Of course, for those at the chi-controlling stage, this place is already quite dangerous. But the further out you go, the stronger the desolate beasts are, and the abilities they possess aren't just simple and rough strength and defense, but also various bizarre powers. Like what? Xiang Beifei hadn't learned much about desolate beasts. For instance, there's a desolate beast called the mirror ape. If you cut off its right hand, your left hand will break. If you blind its left eye, your right eye will go blind. It's like fighting with yourself in the mirror. However, you injure it, the corresponding part of your body will get injured. If you smash its head with a punch, your own head will explode accordingly. Elder Luo said, his tone heavy with implication. Xiang Beifei was astonished and widened his eyes. Such a bizarre, desolate beast? There is also a desolate beast called Meng Huai. It is formless and traceless. You can't see it. When you're awake, it won't do anything to you. But as soon as you close your eyes for more than a minute in the outside domain's desolate wilderness, it will drag you into sleep. In the dream, no matter how violent or powerful your body's means of attack are, they are useless in the dream. Your fists won't work on it. And once it kills you in the dream, you won't ever wake up, Luo Laotu added. Many times when venturing deep into the outside domain's desolate wilderness, tasks require several days, and you will inevitably need to rest. Then the probability of encountering Meng Huai is very high. There's a desolate beast called Han Yi. It is visible but only visible. You can't touch it. It's like a ghost, immune to any physical or energy attack. Yet, it can still hurt you. There is another desolate beast called Ruolai. It moves with sound waves and screams chaotically in combat. As long as you are within the area covered by its sound, it can appear at any position at will. By the time you hear its sound, it may already have suddenly appeared at your ear, cutting off your neck, leaving you completely unguarded. There's also a desolate beast. Luo Laotu then listed a whole bunch of desolate beasts that couldn't be killed by brute force alone, which aroused more and more curiosity in Xiang Beifei. He had only arrived in this world not long ago. In the 2 months since awakening, he had been solely focused on his cultivation. Other than the cultural classes in high school, he hadn't learned about desolate beasts and had no idea that they had so many strange and bizarre abilities. Powerful desolate beasts rely not just on brute force but also intelligence. Their abilities are not inferior to those of human system awakeners. A big reason we've been unable to expand our territory is that it's not so easy to eradicate the desolate beasts in many of the outer border regions. These creatures don't go down without a fight, Luo Laotu explained. Xiang Beifei nodded thoughtfully. He had learned this basic knowledge. Pioneers are a group of system awakeners with various miraculous abilities, many of them powerful SR and SSR. If the desolate beasts in the outside domain wilderness were indeed that easy to vanquish, humans wouldn't be limited to the territories they currently possess. Then what other abilities should I improve? Xiang Beifei asked sincerely. Spiritual power, Luo Laotu replied. Xiang Beifei stroked his chin in contemplation. Meng Huai, Han Yi, and Ruolai can only be dealt with by spiritual power. Thus, it is best for a pioneer team to include someone with strong spiritual power attacks. Luo Laotu continued. I see. Xiang Beifei nodded slightly. Luo Laotu sized up Xiang Beifei and said with confusion, Of course, I don't know what your system is, but I've noticed your spiritual defense is rather strong. I just tried various means of spiritual detection to probe you, but it seems none were successful. Do you possess various spiritual power abilities? No, I only have spiritual defense. Xiang Beifei shook his head honestly. There was no point in hiding this since so many people had tried to probe him, only to be blocked. Almost everyone could guess he possessed this ability. Any experienced person would deduce it. Stay connected through MVL. He had Xiaohe, and Xiaohe's abilities were very effective against the systems of human awakeners, designed specifically for flashy system defenses, but he didn't know if they would work against desolate beasts like Meng Huai and Han Yi that attacked with spiritual power. Then you must learn this, Luo Laotu asserted. Okay, I'll learn. Xiang Beifei nodded earnestly. Without the help of a system, he couldn't have the various special abilities granted by systems at any time, such as healing, defense, escape skills, etc. Everything he achieved relied on his own cultivation. He was willing to learn anything that could make him stronger and complement his shortcomings. Luo Laotu smiled and said, Okay, I'm not too busy lately, and you're on summer break. Come see me in a couple of days. I'll teach you some basic spiritual power attacks. He got up, stretched lazily, and said, I need to deal with some important matters now, so I won't accompany you any longer. Don't worry. In a couple of days, you'll receive your admission notice. Xiang Beifei noticed that Luo Laotu chose the nap task, so the important matters turned out to be this. It was now noon, and after a whole morning of assessments, Xiang Beifei had cracked some melon seeds and wasn't hungry yet. But he didn't want to disturb the old man's sleep and said, Then I'll head back first. I'll come over in a couple of days. Luo Laotu pulled out his phone to add contact details for him, then said, Oh right, almost forgot. I promised to give Yu Qixin a piece of my mind. Go back home, and I'll take care of this for you. I'll train him a bit. If I don't peel him a layer, he won't learn. Does he really think I don't exist? He didn't immediately proceed with the nap task, but chose the scolding task and practice task instead, then left contentedly, ready to deal with Yu Qixin on Xiang Beifei's behalf. Xiang Beifei couldn't help but smile. An SR leisure system must be excellent, as it seemed everything it did led to becoming stronger. Wow, I didn't know you were that strong. Lu Jiwei thought Xiang Beifei had left with Yi Changfeng to handle school admission procedures, so she didn't follow him and had been waiting for him. I thought you had gone back to class, Xiang Beifei remarked. Classes are over. I thought those classmates might bully you, so I decided to skip class to protect you. Who would have thought that you were actually so strong? Lu Jiwei huffed. You made my actions look foolish. Xiang Beifei smiled and said, Still, I have to thank you. That Lu Jiwei stood up for him in the face of an assault by so many S-tier elite students was a kindness he would remember. How did you suddenly become so powerful? Lu Jiwei asked, puzzled. She clearly remembered that 2 months ago, when Xiang Beifei encountered a strange dog enhanced with a system ability, he even had to call the police for help. Uncle Lu taught me well, Xiang Beifei said. Really? Lu Jiwei looked at Xiang Beifei with suspicion. I also learned from my dad, so why didn't he make me as powerful as you? You didn't study seriously, Xiang Beifei said. Lu Jiwei rolled her eyes and said, You must be more than just an N level. Damn it, my dad already knew about this. He even warned me not to inquire about your affairs. I don't know how much more you're still hiding. Find your next read at MVL. Today, in front of these elite students, Xiang Beifei didn't show too much, just punching the S-tier human bulldozer Xiongmeng flying and then killing a few claw-tailed monkeys at the intermediate stage of chi controlling, as well as killing a triangular thunder krite in front of everyone with a single blow. As for how the other snakes were killed, no one saw, but it was enough to leave a huge space for imagination for these elite students. Lu Jiwei's eyes rolled gleefully and said, Forget it. It's all right if I don't know. Anyway, you're already a member of Liangzhou University. Just don't forget what you promised me. Fine, when I have time, I'll teach you reasoning skills, Xiang Beifei said. Let's go, it's just about noon. I'll take you to the university cafeteria for a meal. Get familiar with the Liangzhou University campus in advance, and then I'll take you around Liangzhou University in the afternoon. Lu Jiwei enthusiastically pulled Xiang Beifei towards the cafeteria of Liangzhou University. Liangzhou University has several cafeterias, but because it's summer vacation, only one is open. Therefore, the elite students who just watched the entrance assessment could only dine in this cafeteria. So when Xiang Beifei arrived at the cafeteria, he was once again surrounded by a crowd of onlookers. However, this time the looks these elite students gave Xiang Beifei were no longer ones of contempt and disdain from the beginning. Instead, they were full of various amazement and awe. At the Martial Arts College of Liangzhou University, everyone is an elite. The only thing that can make an elite respect you is being more powerful than them. Xiang Beifei's performance was enough to conquer these elite students. It would be impossible for anyone to come out unscathed under the harsh difficulties of Elder Luo, the old devil. Some of the people here might not even survive if they were thrown into the outer wilderness, even in a low-risk area. When someone achieves what everyone else finds impossible, they gain everyone's respect. It's my treat. Eat whatever you like. Lu Jiwei said generously as she ordered a big pile of dishes, many of which Xiang Beifei had never seen before. Most of them were meat dishes, as martial artists' need for meat was greater than that of an average person. Thanks. Xiang Beifei, holding his plate, found a spot to sit with Lu Jiwei. Although he had the strength from cracking sunflower seeds, these dishes were also very appetizing and increased his appetite. Yu Xiaoyao, who was sitting not far away, saw the two of them and, wiggling her waist, came over to Xiang Beifei with her plate in hand. Looking for another fight? Lu Jiwei glared at Yu Xiaoyao. She had just been dragged by Yu Xiaoyao into the 7-degree space and had a fight. Lu Jiwei was stronger than Yu Xiaoyao, broke the space and came out, not afraid of Yu Xiaoyao. I wouldn't dare. I came to apologize, Yu Xiaoyao said. That's wise, Lu Jiwei snorted. Yu Xiaoyao looked at Xiang Beifei and said, I'm sorry about earlier. We didn't know you would be so strong. You deserve our respect. Xiang Beifei nonchalantly continued to eat his meal. Elder Luo had already told him some simple rules of the elite college. Strength spoke the loudest. With one punch, he had convinced those 200 elite students present. My name is Yu Xiaoyao, an S-level student. I apologize for the offense earlier, and if you need anything in the future, feel free to come to me. By the way, when you enter university, many people will join student clubs. I'm a member of the Red Knight Club. Would you consider our club? Yu Xiaoyao inquired. Hey Yu Xiaoyao, your Red Knight Club is all girls and he's a guy. What's all this excitement about? Tao Jin also came over at this time. Yu Xiaoyao replied with allure. Our club can make exceptions for the strong. Heh. Although Tao Jin and Yu Xiaoyao had just been making things difficult for Xiang Beifei, they were not from the same club. In fact, they were competing rivals. He ignored Yu Xiaoyao and said to Xiang Beifei with all seriousness, Sorry, my name is Tao Jin, from the Black Hawk Club. My behavior just now was very rude, and I hope you won't take it to heart. You're very strong. Really strong. Not bad, Xiang Beifei said. Lu Jiwei spoke up. Can you guys not? School hasn't even started yet. Are you so eager to recruit people now? Can't you wait until school starts? Isn't it because we're worried that once school starts, we won't be able to snatch up such a powerful new student? Tao Jin said with a smirk. Scram, he's with me, Lu Jiwei said fiercely. Yu Xiaoyao and Tao Jin exchanged glances, looking quite regretful. They knew that competing with Lu Jiwei over this matter seemed hopeless, especially since they were the ones causing trouble earlier while Lu Jiwei was the one who had helped. Regardless, please do consider it. Our Black Hawk Club has 2 SR-ranked members and ranks among the top in all clubs, standing at 13th place, while Yu Xiaoyao's only ranks 21st, Tao Jin said. Tao Jin threw an olive branch to Xiang Beifei, not forgetting to emphasize the SR level of his club. Liangzhou University currently has around 30,000 students, divided between the Martial Arts College and the Liberal Arts College in fairly equal numbers. Each year, about a dozen SR-level new student awakeners enroll. In the whole of Liangzhou University, not counting the teachers, there are nearly 70 SR-level awakeners across all grades and advanced students who stay on campus. Of course, these SR-level students are from both the Liberal Arts College and the Martial Arts College, but the student clubs are common to all. Having SR-level awakeners in a club invariably adds to the club's strength. Even if the SR level is from the Liberal Arts College, it's no exception as their systemic advantages are clear. Their cultivation advances faster than ordinary people. Even if liberal arts students aren't good at fighting, their cultivation alone can deter others. What? You're not afraid that recruiting an N-level awakener will disgrace your club? With SR-level elites at the helm, Lu Jiwei retorted from the side. Tao Jin, slightly embarrassed, said, How could that be? His strength is even stronger than that of an S-level. Humph. Lu Jiwei clearly did not like someone like Tao Jin. I'll consider it, Xiang Beifei spoke up. Yu Xiaoyao and Tao Jin both looked pleased and left. Consider what? You're still considering, Lu Jiwei said. Well, I've got to play along. Xiang Beifei thought for a moment and then asked, Are you also part of a club? You don't need to join my club. Lu Jiwei said with her head down, eating. I'm going to quit next semester. Why? Waste of time. My club, Mountains and Rivers, is so lame. The members in the group do very little real work, and when it comes to fighting, the performance is pathetic. They just put on airs, talk big, suck up to others, and speak with such an affected tone. Oh, and Qin Yi is from our club, Lu Jiwei complained. Xiang Beifei had already met Qin Yi, who had the S-level talent gathered during his experience with the enforcement squad at the university, a student from the liberal arts college. Then how many SRs does your club have? Xiang Beifei asked with a smile. 1. That guy has some abilities, but never mind him, Lu Jiwei said as she fiercely poked the fish on her plate with her chopsticks and continued. You might consider joining other clubs. Student clubs have a point ranking system, and the clubs compete with each other in fights and various competitions to gain honor and rise in the rankings. A tally is done at the end of every semester, and our club ranks 81st this term. Every time there's a fight, I'm the only one charging ahead. While the others act like idiots, it's impossible to sustain alone. After a while, she added, You're so impressive. A lot of people already know about you, and those clubs will be fighting over you. You don't have to worry. Okay. Xiang Beifei didn't take the matter too seriously, but suddenly wondered if his dad had joined any clubs when he was in school.